So, Charlie, we have something very important to start out with tonight.
What do we have, Adam?
There was no "Was Up" commercial in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I was looking.
Yeah, I was super mad. All right. So anyway, yo, YouTube. Welcome everybody back to the live show. Joined with me as always is Charlie and the gentle goat, Stu. We'll call him a gentle goat.
Gentle goat. I'll give you the ear side.
That is
Goat.
You got to get his best side, his Vincent Van Gogh.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, welcome everybody. I had some technical difficulties tonight when I was setting this up. So, we'll probably have Charlie do more of the replying in chat because it's a pain in the butt to do when you're on your cell phone, which is what I'm doing because my webcam's not working. Probably some hardware upgrades coming soon on that front, but anyway, phone works fine. We're in this way. We do have a special show tonight. We've got our good friend Beau from 1 Million Cubs Cards joining us shortly. We're going to have him tell us a little bit about himself. Most of you know who he is, of course. We kind of share viewership. Beau and I met a while ago. We'll kind of tell that story a little bit. It's kind of interesting where it's gotten to. And then a couple other topics I just want to touch on. Why the Cubs are better than the Brewers. So Beau and I are going to cover that extensively for like 3 hours.
I purposely did not wear any Brewers gear tonight because I'm like, I'm going to be outnumbered. It's not even worth it. But it's Valentine's Day anyway, so I had to go with the red.
It's definitely 2-on-1, my friend, and you got two guys who like to talk, so I don't know how much chance you have at this one.
I tried to get the no Cubs talk rule in place, but it didn't go.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to try to get a couple things from Beau. I want to get an update on his Cubs card count. We want to talk a little bit about what you and I have going on right now. We do have a show this weekend coming up that we're going to go to, a brand new show, so we're excited about that. And then maybe a little bit about the Super Bowl. I think that gets kind of played to death, that game. So, I don't know if we'll go into great detail over the Super Bowl, as everybody's probably they're full of that at this point. But maybe kind of what that means for cards, right? Off-season plays, things like that. I think football's my biggest seller. I don't know if it is for you. I would venture to guess it's up there at least.
And it's the most steady seller.
Most steady seller, yeah. Probably has the hottest market regularly.
Smaller dips.
All things being the same, I would say football's a strong seller in our business. So anyway, we'll try to get to all that. Of course, we'll participate with the chat, and we know that this should probably be a pretty heavy chat with all of us on here tonight. So we're looking forward to that, and hopefully we can get some answers for some questions in there, as well as some feedback, and just kind of play it loosey-goosey like we normally do. We'll probably be on here for like 6.5 hours or so get ready.
6.5 hours.
It's all right.
I'm straight to work from the show.
Right, yeah. No, I'm going to take a nap. That's the beauty of working from home. I can do that sort of thing. So I'm going to bring Beau on, and we'll get this show on the road. Let me add him in here. Again, I haven't done this on my phone in a while, so hopefully I don't screw this up too bad.
Look at that. You did it.
There he is.
Disconnect us at all.
There he is. I hit all the right touch screen little tiny buttons on the front of my phone, so things are going well, I guess.
What's up? I should have worn my Cubs hat for Charlie.
I thought about it. I was going to wear my I like to wear my World Series hat once in a while, just because that's something that the Brewers have never had. In case nobody out there knew that, I just thought I'd point that out.
How many of the Cubs have now?
More than the Brewers. They have
three.
They have two more than the Brewers. Well, 3 more than the Brewers. Yes, you're correct.
So still within striking distance.
It happened like 115 years ago.
Right.
3 total.
Right. So, yeah, we'll just kind of leave that at that. I don't think we have to go any further into that. It's pretty obvious, for that. So, Beau, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. We're very pleased that you were able to take on our invitation and join us tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I always watch, but usually you guys are on this is kind of like getting into my twilight. So I
Mhm.
did. It is Valentine's Day. So my wife and I, we had a very romantic day. We started the day at the veterinarian with our dog.
That's hard.
And then we had a romantic dinner at through the drive-through Culver's. So I've got a sugar bomb, a strawberry shake. So
Ooh.
I'm on a sugar high. So that'll keep.
You're loaded, man.
Yeah,
that's good. That's great.
It says something that the three of us are all doing this show on Valentine's Day, and our wives are where?
Well, after dinner, they've had enough of us. So that was about it right there. I think. Well, let's go through this. How long have you guys been married? Beau, you go first.
We have been married for, let me do the math, going on, I think this will be year 7. I think our 7th anniversary is coming up this summer.
Okay. Charlie?
Boy, you're going to put me on the spot. Hopefully my wife's not watching.
She'll watch later.
18 years now.
Wow.
So later this fall, it'll be 19, yeah.
Right on. I've got 24 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Got married when I was 21, so yeah. Crazy, isn't it?
Didn't want to wait, didn't want to, see what was going on in the world. You're like, I met my one, we're jumping in.
I had 3 years in college, and I had my adventures, and I decided this is the way I look at it, right? So let's say and Beau, you're fortunate that a few years later into your life, at least at the time when we were growing up, everybody was getting married at 21, 22, 23 years old. I think now that's totally changed, but online dating and all, there's so many other resources too. But it's kind of like, man, if you don't do this and you hold on till you're like 40, what kind of baggage are you getting?
That's true.
And what kind of baggage are you bringing? To be fair, it's both sides, right? It's like, and you've already kind of got your life all set and it's going, and you get, I don't know. So, it clicked, and we're still working out. So I think it's going to last. So it's a good sign, right?
Just keep the card selling; it'll all be good.
Right? Yeah. Well, of course. Yeah. It's every day I'm told to keep going for sure. So it's good. It's good. So, Beau, why don't you take a minute just for the viewers on here who don't know who you are, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and what you do and why you're here tonight?
Sure. I'm Beau from the 1 Million Cubs Project. If you're not familiar with that, I'm trying to collect 1 million Cubs baseball cards, which I've been trying going after that since 2017, the end of 2017. So coming up on just past 6 years doing that. I do a lot of selling on eBay. I transitioned to full-time eBay sales back in October of 2021. I've been doing eBay for, since I think 99 was when I first logged on to eBay and bought and sold. And I've had a store back in the early 2000s on eBay. And so I finally did it full time a couple of years ago, and it's where I'm at today.
Yeah, it's interesting. It doesn't seem like it's been that long. I started selling on eBay in 1996. I wasn't doing a lot of cards at that time. I was doing like miniature figures, and I'll dinking with all kinds of stuff, little football player stuff, and I did a little bit of cards here and there, and it was fairly lucrative. But it was just, remember when people were mailing you money orders or cash in an envelope, and it was just not very, the flow wasn't very good. Like trying to do volume was almost impossible.
Yeah. And people today get upset with PayPal holding their money for or eBay managed payments holding their money for 24 hours. It's like, man, you obviously weren't around in 1999 when you had to wait a week and a half to get a freaking money order or a personal check. And then you had to go to the bank and cash it. And then you had to wait for the check to clear. And then you mailed the item. It's like, it was like a 3-week process.
I can remember at times, in my wallet, I'd have like 10 or 12 money orders, like I just got to get to the stupid bank, yeah, you couldn't do any of the postage from home. You had to bring everything. Well, you were doing cards, so you probably just did and stamps, but
Yeah.
I was doing little miniatures. So I had these boxes I had to bring and stand in the line at the post office,
Yep.
and it was horrible.
Yeah, there was no printing
horrible.
labels.
Yeah.
There was, I mean, you wouldn't even, eBay wasn't even automated to like alert your buyer. You had to email the buyer.
Right.
And say, hey, you won this item number, whatever. You owe $3.15. Please send check or money order to my address. Like, there was no eBay messaging. There was no automatic eBay has all, like, it was like you were on your own. It was basically like running your own website, just, through a vehicle of eBay's website. It was,
well, and then even trying to do listings. I can remember. Do you remember XHTML?
Yeah.
So
not really. No.
Okay, so that's an internet language. I actually have like X. I was laughing about this because I was cleaning out some stuff in our library to have XHTML, like books for dummies and stuff like that, because I had to learn how to code. Because when I'd go in and write my descriptions for my listings, I wanted like colors in some of the words or bold, and you had to do like back, greater than /B, and then type the word, and then and close it off at the end so that it wouldn't bold everything in your. And if you got it wrong, you had to go back in and change all the code. And yeah, it's crazy.
And that, all my friends, is why I did not get into the eBay store until last year. Because for the longest time, I was like, this stuff is like the Wild West. It's crazy out there. I do not want to do business out there. But I finally saw that things had come around and jumped in early. And the first quarter of last year is when I really jumped on.
I think for the most part, it was just a side hustle, right, at that time, because it would have been pretty tough to like run a. I actually did go full time for, I don't know, 6 or 7 months back when I was 21 years old, so right before I got married, and it was just tough. It was too much to try to. And Beau's right. It was basically like you were running entirely on your own, and just trying to advertise and stuff was tough, and using Turbo Lister, the listing program was really bad. You had to write all your language. And luckily, I could still do like copy and paste for descriptions and things for like items. There was no like sell similar or sell one like this. None of that existed.
Crazy. And all that extra coding you did probably explains why you like to do as little as possible now.
Yeah, you might have hit the nail on the head there. I think that's a key to it. I'd rather. I felt like I spent so much time back then just trying to get the business to work versus being able to try to do things to make it grow or to add customer experience or build a customer book. Like there was no way to do newsletters. None of that stuff was really there. And no one really respected it. I think it's even hard now. Like if you tell somebody, what do you do for a living? Oh, I sell stuff on eBay. They're like, oh, okay.
Right. You can make money doing that.
Right. Yeah. We're like, oh, you make like $100 a month. Yeah. But back then it was like way not a real thing. Like there's no way, working from home was insane, at that time. So, but it was great. It was a good warm up for me. I kind of got back into the work world for a while. Needed health insurance. All those things that pop up in your life that were coming. I got married, so I had to cover another person and so on and so forth.
Was this on like AOL internet at the time?
I'm pretty sure I was using Yahoo accounts at that time.
You had to throw in your disc to get booted up and stuff.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I used to.
Like, I think I have a few of those around here.
I know, literally. The other day I had a box in here. I was watching Super Bowl pregame show. One of the boxes I opened up, there were a bunch of AOL discs for it was Major League Baseball. It was like some MLB thing, and they were in this random box. That's why I looked down. I'm like, I think I have some of those right next to me. I put them away.
That's crazy. One of the things I used to do, we were talking Beau earlier about trying to how do you contact these customers? There's no way to do it through eBay. So what I used to do is I used to have a not not a spreadsheet, but more like a Word, right? So I could just keep adding like another username on this page, this Word file, and I would copy all those, whatever were my customers, and I would paste them into Yahoo Mail, and I would just send a bulk email like, "Hey, I got some new listings." I'd post a link in there. Like, dude, I worked hard. There's no way I would do any of this now, but but I used to get like all of a sudden, then a few months in, I'd get this bounce from Yahoo that's like, "Dude, you're sending too many emails to random people. Like, you got to get out of here," Or, the user would report me like, "Hey, I don't want emails from this guy,"
Yep.
I'm like, "You're a customer. You automatically get email." Back then it wasn't like an unsubscribe system and things. Yeah, it's crazy how far it's come. But so tell us a little bit about your personal life, Beau. What's going on in Madtown?
Madison. Yeah. So I'm in, my wife and I just remodeled a house, which was about a 7 or 8 month process. Now we didn't personally, like, Adam, you're like a handyman. Like, you do your
I was just going to say, you remodeled it. Hey, yeah.
I have a flathead Phillips screwdriver and a hammer, and I don't even use those. So yeah, we had we had professionals do it.
Smart.
Moved in here, and so we finally settled in over the last few months. And
nice.
That's what, like, my I don't have any like, tell me about like your hobbies. And it's like, well,
right.
My hobbies are like my work, which is good, because
same.
And I'm still not sick of it yet. Like, I've been doing this for 2 years, and I still get geeked out on cards, and my Cubs collection, that's like my hobby. Like, I have a clear like line of, okay, this is my business and this is my hobby. Top Series 1 release day is today. I got my boxes yesterday, and any Cub card goes in my personal pile, and anything non-Cub is my inventory. And so it's easy for me if I buy a collection and there's a vintage Mickey Mantle, it's like, it's dollar signs for me. It's a commodity.
Yep.
And
Yep.
But if it's an Ernie Banks, it's a personal collection. I've got to sell more cards to make up for what I could have bought that for. So
what's the current number at, Beau?
Let's see, 994,500 and like 95. Yeah, cool. 994, 595 plus about 100 that I pulled. I haven't counted my Series 1 from this week yet. About 100 I think I pulled out of the boxes I bought, and then I do have a couple boxes that I haven't opened that from people that sent me cards. So I don't know how many, but several hundred there. So getting real close. I think I'll hit it around the first week of the baseball season. So
yeah, I was gonna say. Probably feels like that's going to go by in a blink of an eye compared to the first 900,000.
Yeah. They say the first million's the toughest.
That's like 2.5 redwood trees, right? Something like that. Yeah. So, and actually, Charlie took my next question. I was going to ask where your account's at. So what do you do after you hit $1 million? What then what? You just stop, or?
No. So
you start collecting Brewers cards, all 10 of them or whatever,
So there's not going to be 1 million Bears or Bulls or Blackhawks. There's not going to be 2 million Cubs. I'm actually in the process of starting to get my collection organized. And you're probably thinking, shouldn't you have been doing that along the way before you actually get to 1 million? Sorting 10,000, 20,000 is a lot easier than 1 million. So yes. So I'm doing that backwards. But so yeah, I'm trying to get organized now. I've been sorting. That's kind of like the next step in this project. And then it's going to help. I'll know what, like, to this point, like I've probably traded or sold like single digit Cubs cards in the last 6 years out of the 1 million I have almost. I'll trade to like other Cubs, like, hey, I need this Bowman auto, and I've got this one that you don't have. So I'll do some of those. So I think I'm going to do more of that. That's kind of the cool thing. Along the way, I've met a lot of Cubs collectors, and they're like, I'm trying to collect every Cubs card from 1950 or 1952. I bet you've got some that I need. And so I can help. I'll be able to help because I've got, duplicates coming out of my ears. So, that's kind of the next step is organizing and, passing it along. And some of the autographs that I have multiples of, I'll be able to trade for, stuff I don't have. And I'll still fill in holes of cards I don't have. I'll still buy the new stuff, the new products, and, set those aside. So the collecting doesn't end, but the collecting 1991 Fleer will come to an end.
So what happens when people send you boxes of Cubs cards and you don't need them anymore? What are you going to do?
Oh, I'll still have them on the side. So I'm actually being a little strategic in getting close to 1 million because I don't want somebody to send me 10,000 Cubs cards and then I go to the post office and it's like, here's them. Well, I made it, and then so I want there to be some buildup. So. So basically now in the final stretch, I'm turning down a lot of trade. I kind of shut off trades a year ago as I got, within 100,000 just because I don't want junk wax anymore. If people send me that stuff, if it's a 100 count box or a 300 count box, obviously I still count it. And so I'm just kind of being strategic on what I count, what I add just to, make it a little dramatic here down the stretch and get there.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds insane. I was just thinking because I have about 50,000 Favre cards I have to list because that's kind of how I started. I was buying these lots and then just reselling stuff. And I'm looking at how many 50,000 cards is, and I'm like, 1 million. That's like insane, It's an entire room's worth of 5-row boxes,
It doesn't really. I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and I've had a large amount of cards for several years now. But when I first moved to Wisconsin, I moved to Madison about it's been 10 years now. And when I moved here, my collection was maybe 20,000, 25,000 max. And my now wife, when we first started dating, she's like, "Oh my God, this is the most cards I've ever seen." And if only she had. If she had a time machine to travel 10 years into the future to see what 20,000 times, whatever it is. So like, I think about that, like I had 20,000, like my whole collection was 20,000 cards. And that's just like, I bring that home every weekend from a card show.
Right.
That's 4 or 5 4-row boxes. It's like, man, that's nothing. I can carry that upstairs into my car. And so, yeah, that's kind of the eye-opening when I think about how much it's grown is in the last 10 years.
It's an ambitious project, It's even kind of like listings on eBay, right? Like when I had no intention of doing this full time, until I saw the path that I was like, well, I can do this and not have to do this other thing I don't really want to do. And we're fortunate we have spouses that can carry insurance and things like that, which sort of allows us to do this, makes it feasible financially too. But, I started listing a few here and there and a few here and there, a few here and there. And it's like, man, every day it was just sales were growing and I was doing them all by hand and I was just taking a pile of work and I'd do them on lunch hours and whatever. And then all of a sudden I'm needing cabinets with drawers and, you have to keep changing the filing system so that you can handle the larger quantities, and it's just insane. It just goes and goes and goes. But I think you hit the nail on the head. I haven't been doing it as full time for as long as you have. It's only been about 6 months for me, 7 months, something like that. But I still love it. Kind of a spur of the moment decision this last weekend. I decided to go to a card show on Sunday. And found some good stuff, picked it up, met a bunch of viewers there, took a couple pictures with them, talked to some dads and some young viewers. The younger viewers are the interesting ones to me because they get kind of I had 2 little kids across they're waving, they want to say anything to me, and then they pull dad, and then dad's like, "Oh, that's the YouTube guy," and he got, and I think that's pretty cool because that's a good way for us you want to make sure you get young collectors in. And then while I was there, my cousin messaged me and he said, "Hey, he lives a little south of Appleton." he said, you at the show today? And I said, yeah. He's like, hey, I got nothing going on. I'll pop out there. So he came out, and he's got a nephew who just turned 10, and he wanted cards for his birthday. Like, that was us when we were 10, and it's like these 10-year-olds now want basketball cards, football cards, whatever it is. So I still just love going to the show. It's a little extra responsibility for me because I got to film it, and then I got to cut a video and do all that. But just digging through boxes and finding these little gems, and just having some kind of strategy of what table I want to go to, and then going back and trying to make a deal. And I tried a ploy today that I never thought or on Sunday that I never thought I would do. And that was, I took so much cash with me. I was only going to spend this amount of cash at the show because we're going to another one this Saturday, a bigger one. So I wanted to make sure, I had plenty of inventory money left for this weekend. But kind of got through the show towards the end. I had $28 left. I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go through a box. I'm going to try to find like $40 to $45 worth of stuff, sticker price stuff. Go up to the seller and say, hey, this is what I got, $28. Will you take it? And reluctantly, he sold me the cards. Now, this is a dealer I bought from before too, so he knows I'll be back. But I know it's $1 and $2 cards are our norms.
Yeah.
But I thought, I'm gonna try this and see if I can pull this off and say, hey, I pulled all the money out of my wallet and I got $28. This is it, and I want these cards. And it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
Would he have taken a $28 offer if that wasn't all the cash I had? I don't know.
Yeah.
So that might be something I use a little more often in the future. We'll see.
Or would he have taken that offer had you not been buying from him before?
That's true. Yeah, you never know. And I thought worst case scenario, I could put a couple cards back or something. I figure we could figure something out. It was stuff that I could easily sell and make a profit on. So, even at sticker, I would have been okay. But we never pay sticker. Come on.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because you've been a dealer at a show.
Mm-hmm.
What if somebody came and did that to you? What would you, as a seller on the other side of the table, how would you have handled that with your car, selling your cards?
When I sell at a show, I'm just selling junk cards. So
you're like, yeah, take it.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much like you. It's quarter box, dime box type stuff. First couple shows I did, I brought some high-end FARF stuff. It was more just kind of show them off. I've got some $15,000, $20,000 FARF cards. No one was going to make me a serious offer on any of that kind of stuff at a Green Bay card show.
Right.
The odds weren't favorable to that. So, but I mean, I guess let's just, for argument's sake, let's say I had a $1 box and somebody came up and said, hey, I got $42 worth of stuff here and I'll give you 28. I mean, my guess is I was probably paying 15 to 20 cents for those cards.
Right.
If I possessed them at all, or, I ripped them in packs or something like that. So I probably would have been like, sure, fine. I like the bulk. I like, I watched your show yesterday, but I think it was yesterday or the day before, where you were talking about, hey, if I sell 200 cards and 3 of them go for a loss, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I got 197 cards I made profit on. Like,
yeah,
I think some people that are, not in a business mindset or don't have, natural business skills, I think that one's hard for them to understand. They think everything they get, you have to make $1 on. Even Charlie, when you were starting out, we talked about that, and you were like, "Oh, I could have got $7 for this, and I only got $6." And I would say, "Well, how much did you pay for it?"
Yeah,
I paid $1. Great, you made a profit. Like,
yeah.
Maybe you gave that customer a little bit better deal, and they'll be back. You can't. That's why I use my 500 auctions every month, and I just run 99-cent deals. And I'll have 6 or 8 of them that buy one single card, and I lose on it. But I'll have others that'll buy, 8 or 10 of those cards because all the cards are the same. They're all FARF cards. So the odds of somebody bidding on one card is not that high. They're going to bid on multiple cards.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of playing the odds and trying to get a customer. And I have some customers that only bid on my auctions every month. I mean, I have my store right there. You could just go buy the card for $1.49 instead of waiting for me to throw it up at 99 cents. But they like to buy that way. So, but I don't mind taking a loss here and there if I feel like it's still progressing my business forward, or I got enough profit on, other cards.
Yeah, and I think kind of along those lines, some sellers, they're kind of looking at it from in that standpoint, a micro sense. And another thing I thought of is, say I have 10, like a quantity listing where, like, I'm listing top series 1 this week, so I have a lot of 5-6 cards of each. If somebody comes in, say I have them listed for $2, and somebody comes in and offers 99 cents but wants 6 of them at 99 cents, some people look at that and they're like, well, I'm not giving these away for 99 cents each. But the thing is, you're making $6 and it goes to one. You can still send that ESE to one person. Are you going to hold out and sell them for $2? And I don't know if the math works out on $2, but that's 64 cents. Say you sell 6 different times at $2 each. That math is probably going to come out. You're making more money selling at 99 cents to one customer as opposed to $2 to 6 customers.
Well, and you're going to lose like $1 per card if you sell them individually, because you also have that 30-cent transaction fee for each one if you sell them.
Exactly. On top of the 60% postage.
I'm exactly with you. I would take that deal all day long. If I was going to sell them for $2 and they offered me $1. And I do that a lot. I sell lots of quantity. That was one thing with switching my inventory system I was a little worried about. I'm like, well, if these go into bags and I get more, do I go back to the old bag or the old tab, whatever you want to call it? I've got that figured out now, but that was something I didn't want to lose. I also, in my listing, have it built in for a quantity discount. So a lot of times they won't shoot me that low ball offer. They'll just take, okay, if I buy all 6, I get 15% off or 20% off, which is still a great deal for me. I believe that my business philosophy is, if I'm going to save money, I should pass some of that savings along to my customer.
For sure.
I think that's good business practice. We used to talk about, back when I was in banking for 1,000 years, we used to talk about the triangle of satisfaction, right? So you have, your bank makes something on it, you get paid something for making the sale, and your customer gets a better deal, right? You're either saving them interest or making them more money or something. Like, everybody won, right? Isn't that kind of the goal? So yeah, I agree with you. I think you have to be open to taking. I know some sellers were like, well, I don't take offers, this is my price, and I'm like, you're going to get, you're not getting anywhere with that. That's not gonna fly very long, especially when you have so much quantity. I mean,
if you're a volume seller, I understand it's annoying if you have $1.50, $1.75 listings and somebody offers you $1 and it's only $1 offer, because it's like, okay, so I price some stuff at 99 cents just to encourage people to come in my store. I'm going to lose if they buy that one card. One person buys that card, I lose money. People ask, well, how do you make any money on 99 cents free shipping? I don't. I lose money. But that's I'm not listing them to lose money. I'm listing them. It's the Costco rotisserie chicken or the pizza hot dog. It brings people into my store, and the goal is to entice them with 99-cent free shipping plus a 25% discount if you buy 7 or more, and hopefully they want to buy 20 or 30 or 40 or 100 cards. And so those are my goals, and it outweighs. I get a ton of single transactions at 99 cents, but it makes up for it when people come in and buy 20, 30, 40, 50 cards.
That's basically the same philosophy I'm using on the auction side, right? I'm not going to make anything on those single 99 centers. I feel like on the auction side, my advantage is they're all going to end at the same time. So I have a higher propensity to get a multiple sale versus somebody comes into the store. They could pluck out whatever they want at any time. They might buy one for 99 cents from you today and then one for 99 cents tomorrow. You're sending out 2 of them. But I agree with you. I think you have to be prepared as a business to take some loss. It can be a write-off. It comes off your income statement and things like that. So that, there's some, you get something back out of it. You don't want to run your whole
feedback.
Right. Well, and positive. Yeah, that helps too. Feedback. That's been a whole thing lately.
Yeah. I took a loss today, actually, that I chalked up purposefully as research for
Good
me.
job, Charlie, on a law.
Yeah, I know.
He wants to jump in on this.
But it was, I had some Bowman Platinum, some ultra modern Bowman Platinum miscuts. I had a ton of miscuts that came out of
I remember.
somewhere I got them. I must have ripped them out of blasters, to be honest. Yep. But I had more than normal, and I listed them fixed price for a while, and there wasn't much interest. And Adam and I had talked one of these weeks that we think miscuts are maybe a little more popular with the vintage sets and things like that. I don't know if there's the same market in modern. So after they didn't move as a fixed price, I actually moved them to an auction, and I did a lot of 10 of them. And then I had a couple of things that I was able to research. One, is there genuinely any interest in modern miscuts? And I will tell you, there was not much. And two, I got to test out shipping 10 cards in a number 10 envelope for 88 cents. And I can see how that works out. So the auction did sell for $1.25. So with the 88 cents and the fixed listing fee, I mean, I'm going to end up losing like 12 cents, 15 cents plus
30 cents,
whatever it was when I ripped them out of blasters. But I learned something from that transaction. Like I learned a little more about miscuts. I learned a little more about shipping 10 cards at a time. So that sometimes I'll take a loss just because I want to see what happens, put it in the memory bank so I can learn from it moving forward.
Absolutely. And that's, it's one of the questions I get often with, some of the stuff that sells. Dan McGuire, quarterback from the early 90s. Like, well, how do you know that's going to sell? It's like, well, it's trial and error. Kind of like what you did with the miscuts. It's like, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to list it. And, if it doesn't sell, sometimes you learn more from what doesn't sell than what does sell.
Right. I sold a Chad Pennington today.
Like people love crappy quarterbacks. There's a huge market for crappy quarterbacks.
Yeah, Ryan Leaf stuff sells really well. If you can get some nice inserts and stuff on him.
Yeah.
Some of his cards outsell some of his stuff outsells Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? That doesn't. But yeah, there's a loser market out there for sure.
There is.
Yeah.
Adam, check in on the chat for a little bit, and then we
can come I was going to do that. Yep. Yeah. Good call. All right, so we've got Matt in here. Welcome, Matt, to the show. Thanks for hanging around for the last 40 minutes listening to us idiots. Troy is here. Good evening. Weston is here. Hello. Good to see you. This JC3 Cards jerk is here.
Never heard of
him. Looking forward to tonight's show. Welcome, Bill. Tom is here. Tom hasn't joined us in a little while, so happy to see you back, Tom.
Yeah.
Bill says he was shocked to see you are going to a scanner and a CDP route. We'll get to that. That's coming up.
Why? He always seems so open to it.
I knew that would show up right away. I'll tell it. I kind of explained in my video why, but we'll go into that a little bit more. I'm not we'll talk about that in a bit. Degen Terp is here. Evening, everyone. I'm excited to see the scanner and card dealer videos in the future. Let's see. Culver's root beer is the best. You're not wrong. Culver's root beer is pretty good. Are you having your spotted cow, Beau?
No, I had a water. Had to wash down the strawberry shake I had at dinner.
I've got Baja Blast Zero.
Oh, okay.
Me and my kid's favorite, so I pick that up once in a while. Bill says he's getting married on September 7th. Congratulations. That's awesome. Weston says, hey, Beau, he's in Madison too. Would love to connect sometime. Any specific shops you like to buy from?
Absolutely. Well, I buy a lot from the Madison Card Show. So come on out.
On John Nolan Drive.
John Nolan Drive. Take a drink. John Nolan Drive next Saturday, a week from Saturday, February 24th, 10 days from today. So
I gotta hit it annually when there's Brockfest going on across the street.
And hopefully I need to they only let me book like 3 months at a time. So I've got to wait to book. They should be opening up my booking dates for April, May, June soon. But yeah, I hope to get it the same Saturday as as Broadfest. Shops, I don't really go to any. I don't go to many shops. We don't have, like, you guys are lucky up there because you have a few shops, I think, up around.
We do. Yeah.
We have one shop in Madison. It's not really anything. But Brad, he ran Nelson Sports Cards down in Stoughton, he just opened a shop in DeForest. And I stopped in there. They had a grand opening last week or 2 weeks ago, and it's really cool. It's a modern shop. It's got space to like open packs if you want to do that. There's TVs on the wall. They've got bargain boxes. So they've got a little bit of everything. So that's in downtown DeForest. So that's a really cool shop that just opened up.
A $3 million card shop?
I don't think it's not quite Cards HQ level.
Oh, Cards HQ. That's no. Maybe we'll get to that. Maybe we'll talk about that later. All right, Beau, are any of your Cubs cards duplicates? Yes,
lots of
them. Right? Lots of them. I was actually going to ask you this too. Are you going to do a video just showing like this immense amount of cardboard you have?
Yeah, I do. I should put the video on YouTube because I put it on Twitter this past weekend. I did a walkthrough of my spaces. So I have the video. I should do an after because I did it before I started organizing a couple of my rooms back here. Because my shipping room is right behind the TV back there, and it got to be an absolute freaking disaster. So you can kind of see it in that disaster mode. I'll upload that. It's like a 2-minute video that I just did a walkthrough of this room, that room, and then where a bulk of the cards. It's about 3 million cards total, 1 million Cubs cards, and then 2 million other.
Well, and I remember your show at your other house in the basement. It was just you were surrounded by all the boxes and everything.
Yeah,
so
racks.
Yeah. So I think my favorite episode of yours was when the movers showed up and like you just left the camera running and there was all kinds of cursing and it was pretty entertaining.
It took 60 man hours to move my cards, and I moved. That's not including my few hours.
Yeah.
But it took the movers 60 hours over the course of that, and that's five movers, and I think it took them 12. I think it was 12 total hours with 5 guys. So yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, you're staying there now, right? That's okay.
Yep.
Okay. Sporto20MI has joined us. Hello, everybody. So Sprecher root beer for the win. Sprecher's good too. I would agree.
I like Sprecher's.
John Larson has joined us. Welcome, John. Can you guys describe your shipping process? I don't understand how you're able to ship 100 plus orders in a day. My sales are starting to get insane. Welcome to the show. Thanks to you guys. Seriously. Well, I guess I'll start. I do mine. There's a couple things that I think are important for me. One is I ship every day. So I do 1-day shipping. I get that little bit of discount, being the top rated seller plus. So I like that. And I feel like as long as I ship every day, it can't get out of hand. It shouldn't get out of hand. Now, Monday I shipped for almost 12 hours straight. But I'm in the process of moving from one inventory system to another. My new system is way quicker, but I'm not there with everything yet. So as I'm trying to scale up, I need to get that more organized as well. And it's happening. So I would say that that's probably the other thing. Make sure you have a very easy way to quickly pull, any cards that you would need when you sell them. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll pull some cards the night before, just when I got a little bit of downtime. Today I had a pretty good sized YouTube video uploading. Even with fiber, it still was going to take 20 minutes, half hour. So I did that on my phone, so I couldn't really do anything else at that time. So I went into my drawers and I started organizing some stuff, pulling a few cards out that sold and getting ready for tomorrow's shipping. I try not to work on Saturdays and Sundays, so Monday gets to be the insane shipping day. And your 1-day shipping is business days. So anything that sells on a Friday, I don't have to ship it on Saturday. I don't have to ship it until Monday. So it does kind of still give me the weekend off, but then Monday gets insane with, almost 3 days worth of orders. So that's kind of where I'm at. How about you, Beau? I know you're even bigger than me as far as how many orders you're sending out. So
Yeah, I early on I started to realize I needed a better organization. I was initially, and I think we all start where we're not organized. When
right.
we start out just, selling some stuff here and there, we've got a small box.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start selling more and more and more. And then all of a sudden it kind of gets out of hand. I started sorting and I realized, man, this is taking, especially when I started to scale up and I wasn't in it full time, but it was a full-time job, but it was a side hustle.
Right. Same.
And I'm like, I need a different, way to do this. So that's when I went to, and I know you're doing like, I think by date.
Mm-hmm.
I toyed around with that. I did a couple experiments with dates. I did another version. I did 2 or 3 that I experimented with before I settled on, and I just do the tab box 24 tab AR. It's just, for me, it's the way my brain works. Everybody's brain is gonna, find efficiencies differently. So
Absolutely.
this is kind of what I settled on, and it works best for me. And it's super quick. I try to keep the tabs. There's no sorting. Like, I mean, if I grab this pile of cards out of a bargain box I bought, I'll scan them, and then they go in the next tab, and I don't have to sort. I don't have to sit down and sort, and a lot of mistakes can happen in that. When you sort, even like I know cards pretty well, but I still mess up years. So it's super fast to pull. I'm going in Series 1 this week, so I had to get completely caught up on my shipping because I did nothing but sort and list today. So tomorrow when I get to shipping, I have almost 300 to ship tomorrow. 287 right now. So by the time tomorrow morning rolls around, I have over 300 items or transactions to ship, a lot of multiple card orders. But I knew that was going to happen. And that's why I do 3-day handling. Because
right.
These, I don't know what day, it's Wednesday, so I'm not going to be able to ship all of those.
So how many days worth of orders is that then?
That's one.
But you ship every 3 days, right? Or you ship every day?
I ship every day. Yeah, I
did 2
not,
3 days in case you don't get them all done. Got it.
So it's really it's about a day and maybe a day and a half, because I probably let's see. Yeah, because I probably stopped shipping in yesterday afternoon. So it's about a day and a half of orders. But I didn't do any, but after a certain time yesterday, I didn't do any shipping. I didn't do any shipping today because I did nothing but sort and list and go to the vet and Culver's. So tomorrow is going to be pretty much focused on, shipping my A off. So I'm pretty much, I'm down to like 100 of the base cards in quantity listings to go, which I've got half of that template ready. So it's going to be a very ship heavy day tomorrow.
Charlie, what do you do?
Well, I am still the small fish in the big pond in this discussion. So I ship 5 to 10 a day. So it's very scalable for me now, even though I'm part-time. But I will say the 2 things that stand out to me that position me for growth is that, one, the organization process you guys talked about. You need to be able to immediately go to those cards, pull them, and get them packed and shipped. You can't afford to be digging through a box, randomly. And then number 2 is that I really ship multiple times a day. Like I don't queue everything up for one drop a day. Before I head to the office in the morning, I will ship a couple cards out. Then when I get home in the afternoon, I'll ship a couple cards out. If I'm off or on the weekend, like I will pack and ship pretty live as the orders come in. I don't queue things up. So I mean, I've got lots of room for growth yet as I, scale up my operation.
Yeah, and I think it's important to hear from someone who's just trying to get the next set of scaling versus us who are actually this was like the perfect range between the three of us, because
Yeah.
I know Beau is at like 55,000, 53,000, whatever it was that the last I had heard from you. I'm at like 35,000 and Charlie's at like 3,000, 3,500, something like that. Yeah. So you can kind of see how we're all in our like stages, and something I talk about a lot on here, and this be good for you too, John, if you're just trying to scale up at this point. Make sure that you don't grow too fast. We've been doing this for years, and there's different processes. You kind of work on your inventory system. I really like having drawers. I was using boxes originally, and it was pull this box out and grab these cards, pull this box. Now I just slide the drawer out and pull what I need. Oh, it's in this drawer, pull it, put tabs on the drawers. But you have to kind of find what I think, Beau, you have like a bunch of individual shelves, right? So each box is on the shelf.
Yep.
And so it's easy for you to get at. You're not unstacking boxes. And so, I mean, you even need time and ability to be able to do that, to get a room set up where you can have shelving or have, a drawer system like I use, or box, whatever you're going to do, to handle that, and then how you're going to sort them and keep them safe. And, so there's a million and one ways to do it. I think you can learn from our three different levels of experience as well, and then figure out how it works best for you. But don't get yourself buried to the point where you can't offer good customer service and you can't complete your orders on time.
Yeah,
that'd be my biggest word of caution, because it's really hard to dig out of that. You start getting negatives, you start mailing the wrong cards to people. I mean, you're gonna lose money, you're gonna have a hard time staying in it. So keep your head above water and just kind of let it scale naturally over time.
And
don't quit your day job yet.
Right. And you see that with some of the large, what I also would stress is and I don't like talking in number. Like when I say I've got 287, items to ship or whatever, there's always somebody ahead, whether you're 5 a day, somebody's doing 10 a day, there's 20, 100, 500, 1,000. And I look at, I want to be shipping more. I look at like Burbank and Comsty, the top, the guys that are in the top. Well, they also have a staff of like 40 people.
Right.
But even with a staff of 40 people, go and look at their feedback. And some of those big sellers that are in the top 100 on volume on eBay have like thousands of negatives for slow shipping. And it's like
each month. Yeah, Comsy's overall rating is like 99.4.
Yeah, which is terrible. The amount of feedback, that's terrible.
And they literally have 3 employees that just ship. That's it. That's all they do all day long is pull the tickets. They get the tickets from like a processor or something. And kind of like how the grading system goes, right? You have all these different steps that it gets passed along to, and they're supposed to pull them and ship them. And there's tons of bad feedback on there for ship the wrong cards. It took a month to get here. Why did you charge me $5 shipping for one card? They have all kinds of feedback issues, and that's not good. Even when you get to a certain size, you can probably get away with a little bit more of that. I mean, people are going to buy from Burbank no matter what because of the name, and just the fact of the quantity. I mean, Burbank has like 40 million cards. Yeah, I mean. And they've been around forever too. They didn't build that business in the card boom. Let's buy 40 million cards and start selling. That place has been around since like the 1960s or something, or 70s. The guy who runs it now was his dad who started the business when he moved here from another country and was working little crappy paid jobs and started trading some cards, and now it's Burbank. But I agree with you. I think I have the same ambition. I would love to get to a point where it's like, oh, I have to go to my warehouse to fill orders today. That would be amazing. I'll give it to my 6 guys who do shipping so that, I can spend my time not doing remedial task, if you will, but I can do something where I can work on building the business or advertising or customer base or going on shows like this to, promote our brand and things. But I think that's one of the biggest things. You want to make sure, and Charlie and I talked about this quite a bit, and especially early on, you want to make your brand.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be the low cutter guy, be the low cutter guy. If you want to be the, hard to deal with guy, be the hard to deal. You have to decide what you want your brand to be, because that's the only thing that can separate you from another guy selling cards. Beau and I might even sell the same card in a day. What differs his business from my business? That's what you have to really work on, and the rest will kind of come about. Sounds like you've got a great start, John. You're on the right path, and shipping 100 orders a day is that's pretty common for me. That's just about every day, if not quite a bit more. And Beau's at even higher than that. So it can happen, and it probably will happen if you keep moving on it. And you need to figure out now, how you are gonna be able to deal with that. One thing I did was quit my job.
Yeah. One more thing I would add to that discussion is I think it's helpful to have a manufacturing efficiency mindset when you set up your workplace. So when I'm not even at my primary workstation right now. I'm in my kind of video setup right now, which is just 2 steps away from my main workstation. But even here, I am less than an arm's length away from some of my listed inventory. I am an arm's length away from my thermal printer. I am an arm's length away from my scale if I need that. My tape is just a little stretch away from me right now. Everything is close. My top loaders, I don't have to get up and cross the room for anything. At most, it's 1 or 2 steps for some of those seldom used things. But things I use every day repeatedly are all within an arm's length. And that helps you get through that volume fast.
It's the kitchen triangle, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure Beau knows what that is with a realtor wife. Yeah, you don't want your stove way over there and your fridge way over there. You want to be able to function your entire meal and what you got going on and within one square. It's something that I changed early on too. I had a single desk. Well, that was fine for a while, but now I went to an L. So I have like some packing stuff here and my computer here and my printer here.
Yep, that's what I do. And
now I have to roll out of the way to get to my cards, and I think, Beau, you keep your inventory in an entirely different room to some degree, right? I mean, it's right next to you, but
so my shipping room is behind me here. So I use this room, this is kind of the office, like my desk work. I do list in this room. Okay. I did want to keep the listing and shipping room separate. Plus I have windows I can see outside. And the other room is just an unfinished room.
A vault.
It's a vault. Yeah, it is. And so I need to at least know that there's an outdoors every once in a while. So
just you and the spiders in there, huh?
Yeah, me and the spiders. So, but yeah, just like Charlie said, everything is in that room. I may have to, for some boxes, I may have to wheel my chair a little bit, but for the most part, I can just lean over and pull boxes off the shelf and,
when you scale up to 1 million cards, they're not all going to be right a reach across from you. You have to look at even Burbank. They've changed their whole layout several times. And getting to the point where we can't have even all the cards in the shop anymore. We got to have a separate space. Just a picker station essentially. But yeah, I think you're on the right path. I think you just have to some time management is going to be extremely important going forward, and you're probably going to end up working 2 full-time jobs if you keep it going. And then you got to decide what you want to do from there. Is that enough, or do you need to make a change? I remember when I first told Charlie, I'm like, I think I'm going to do this full-time. He's like, that's a bold move. That's literally what he said to me.
I think I said that's a bold move, Cotton.
That's yeah. And I said, yeah, it sure is, but you have to make decisions in your life and kind of go with it. Don't put what's important to what you're doing now aside in order to, grow faster. I think that's a huge error that a lot of people make. All right, Michael Heilman is here. Hi guys, love each of your channels. If one was to begin part-time, what kind of capital would you recommend starting with? Best way to obtain inventory? Thanks for your time. I'll let Charlie start on this one. You're kind of the newest in the three of us here, so why don't you kind of tell them how you would start out?
Yeah,
Or how you started it.
Yeah, I've told my story a couple times. I used to be a collector, and I would collect the entry level sets. I mean, even today, I still got my Topps flagship, box today. That's kind of how I started collecting. But I reached a point where I said I don't really collect as much anymore. I'm not as driven to complete sets anymore. But I still like working with cards. So I need to figure out something to do with these, thousands of cards I have packed away in the attic and protected. So that's one route you can take to get started. If you already have some inventory that you've kind of got distance from and you're like, what am I going to do with this? You definitely can do a better job of moving that and making a profit if you sell it on your own versus taking it all to your local card shop. As much as I love our LCSs, they're gonna give you pennies on the dollar for those, right? That's just, they gotta make a living too. So I think that's a great way to get started. That's how I got in. Since I've been engaged and I have to get more inventory, for me, it's not even close. Like, card shows is my favorite way to get additional inventory, and I think the most effective way for me. I think that's different maybe for you guys, because Adam, you're really good at shopping lots on eBay. Beau, I know you get a lot of pallet buys that you get that work out for you. But for me, starting out, it was go to a card show, see what's out there, network with other people, and try and find a forever home for all these cards that are in these value boxes.
What kind of capital do you recommend starting with?
Well,
2 million, 3 million, I mean.
yeah. So I will tell
you as much as you can. How about that?
Yeah. I don't think you need a lot to get started. Everybody starts with one card on eBay. Just one card. That's how you start, right? Yep. So you can go to a card show. I typically take $200 to a card show. Some take more, some take less. It just depends on what your means can afford you. And typically I spend all of that on inventory and bring it home. Sometimes I feel like I had a good day and I bring $40 home and I buy Adam lunch. I don't know. But I think you can literally get started like that with just a couple $100 of capital. If you don't already have something, go get 200, 300, 400 cards at a card show and start with that.
All right. Well, before we go to Beau to answer this question, I just want to point out we have 41 live viewers. It's the most we've ever had on this show. So thank you so much for everybody for tuning in. If you're enjoying this, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to participate in the chat. We're obviously very chat focused. We want to try to get to everybody as best we can. And I guess we have to have Beau on every week because that boosts our ratings. So boosts our viewership anyway. So anyway, we appreciate all of you. And again, we appreciate Beau for being here to help our channel out. So Beau, how would you answer this question?
This is a great question. It
is really good. That's why I want to spend some time with each of us on it.
Yeah. And I agree with every single thing Charlie just said. And in fact, my card shows, my number one by far best place for me to get inventory. And that's where I find most of my deal. I get the Goodwill pallets every once in a while. I get some good stuff in there, but those are pretty rare. Card shows are pretty common. So card shows are a great place to start. As far as like
I just want to interrupt you real quick. One thing we should point out is we have a ton of card shows where we are, so we're very fortunate that way. If you do not have those, yes, you will have to start looking for some alternative to obtain your inventory.
That's a really good point, because we're all from Wisconsin, and in our area, I'm not sure where Michael's from, but I know there are some areas that are starved of card shows, and there would have to be alternative.
Start
mode.
one.
Yeah, there you go. As far as like capital, to be honest, to get started, $10, $20.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what you're, and it also depends on
what cards you want to sell.
What you're looking to sell. Like, are you looking to volume sell? Are you looking for slabs? Are you I guess what's your primary mode going to be in terms of what you're going to sell? But, if you want to do volume selling, I mean, you could get a great 4 or 5 row box for like $50 from a dealer. I mean, you're going to have to find the right one, the right dealer. You may go to 2 or 3 card shows and not find that perfect box, but every once in a while they come along. And it's pretty easy to find, a box, a 4-row box for like $50. And if you spit out $2 cards, out of those on eBay, it's a great start. So capital, that's kind of a tough question. It just depends on the inventory you want. It depends on what your budget is. I mean, maybe your budget's larger than that, and you could afford a couple $100 or $500 or $1,000. Whatever you're comfortable with in your budget, go from there. And that's what I would say.
Yeah, I kind of agree with both of them. By far, my best way to obtain inventory these days is card shows. I like to buy lots, but essentially that's what I'm doing at a card show. Only I get to cherry pick which cards are in the lot. That's the big advantage over the eBay lots. Now, that being said, I'm glad I started with the eBay lots because I got really good deals on stuff, and it gave me lots of things to sell because I was really buying the lots for the specific cards I wanted to pull out of the lot for my PC, and then just selling the remaining. So that's also a good way to do it. And sometimes you can find somebody who lists something on eBay and they really don't know what they're listing, and you can score a hell of a deal.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you go to card shows, the dealers know their stuff, and other than bulk buying, you're probably not going to find a huge gem in the rough. Although we have, of course, at shows, all of us, but and if you don't have card shows near you, I think that the eBay lots is a great way to go. You can easily get them shipped to your house. You just turn around and flip them. And I think Beau's right. If you can start with $25, $30, I think the biggest key to it is don't take any profit for a while, right? So you start with $30 at a card show and you get some nice cards, you sell them and you get $65 for those cards. Well, then take that $65 and buy more cards and do something with them and turn that into $150. If you're starting with a small amount of capital, try not to take any money out of it and just build that capital up and your inventory up, and then eventually you'll be able to, you'll actually be getting paychecks out of it if that's your future goal. But just reinvesting that way, it'll help your tax situation and things like that as well. If you're not keeping any of the profit and you're putting it back into the business. That's what I did. I started with my first business. I started with like $500, and I just bought stuff and put it back into it and kept it going. And that was by far the best way for me to grow it versus like taking out a big loan or something like that. That might be something you want to leverage later on. If you need bigger capital to buy office space or equipment or something like that, then you can start going, well, I have a successful business. I'm going to, use some of that to take some debt on it to help my growth. But it's not the best way to do it to start out. One of the great things about this hobby business is you can buy penny cards and you can buy $10 million cards. I don't know of any other hobby or even business enterprise that's the spread on cost of goods. That's insane. And in fact, I think a card even went for more than 12 million, didn't it? Recently, didn't a Babe Ruth go for like 12 something, 12 and a half or something?
I think it fell. The mantle went for 12.6, and I think the
12.6
went for. Did it go for 10? Did the Ruth go for 10? I think.
I don't know. I don't keep up too much. That's way out of my range, so I don't really follow too much.
In that pool either.
I mean, it was pretty cool standing next to the $6.5 million Honus Wagner. That didn't actually. I stood next to the mantle too. That ended up selling. In a big glass case, of course, but being the presence. Yeah, bodyguards next to it. You could see the little sensors built on the side of it, and yeah, it was legit. But a pretty cool opportunity. But so that's where I would kind of go with the capital part, and then the obtaining inventory. I still think that eBay lots and buying at shows is probably the two best ways. I know a lot of the dealers Charlie and I buy from up here at least are guys that are buying collections, and they want the better stuff out of the collections, and then they just throw all the other stuff in like diamond quarter boxes, even though they're worth way more.
That's and that I think each one of us, that's what I do. I have like the same dealers that I buy from because they know that I'm gonna pay what they want, and I know that they're gonna give
mass bulk.
Yeah,
big bulk. They just want to move it. Same with us. So, Gabe's here. I got to go to Gabe's. I just call him his 10-cent boxes because, that's what I'm going to end up paying. Well, actually 5-cent boxes because they start out at 10 cents, but I buy, a 3 or 4 row box and boom, you're at 5 cents a card or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's what you have to do is you have to kind of, and I get the question once in a while. I don't know if you get this, Beau, but I'll get a question once in a while. Well, if they're sold for more than that, why are they selling them so cheap? Because that's not what they sell. They're getting it. We're the ones that are going to be the dealer for those cards. Mm-hmm. They just need to move those cards to a dealer so they can get them out. They try to get some of their money back from buying the collection, and then they'll sell the $500, $1,000 cards. And that'll be their profit and where they run their business from. So, they're trust me, they're not being charitable. They're just that's just not the side of the business that they're participating in, I guess. And they need us as much as we need them. They need us. Who the hell else is going to go over there and buy $2,000 Emmett or 2,000 Emmett Smith cards? At a Green Bay card show, that's a tough draw. So
I feel like someone's gonna start singing the Circle of Life here in about a minute.
So. Right? They don't have to ship them. They don't have to count them. They just go, yep, here's a whole box. Here, $50, and we're good to go. They can get in and out of it pretty quick and move on to and hopefully they buy another big awesome collection next month, and I can buy their stragglers after that. So we'll keep that train moving hopefully. So I think we pretty much answered that. Hey, we covered that pretty hard. Mm-hmm. But very good questions. I always like questions from people starting out because I think there's so much adrenaline and energy going into it, which is great. But it's not all roses either. There's a lot of things that are involved, and these people are your customers, and you need to treat them well. And if you feel like you're not going to be able to do that, then I would back off. All right, MD says a complete 180 in Scannerland. The earthquakes, we'll get to that later. Lofi Joe has joined us. Saw your video today from the card show. Do you bring anything special along with you to protect any sleeved cards you buy in bulk? Yeah, I generally just bring like a long box, 1,000 count box, 800 count box, whatever I can fit. I wear a backpack. I have some other things in my backpack, camera batteries, stuff like that, because I film, obviously. But yeah, I'll bring a box with me, but honestly, what's kind of interesting about that is if you buy enough stuff, most of the dealers are like, hey, I got a box for you. And I'm like, I'll take your box. I use those boxes for stuff. Top loaders are a little tougher because unless you have the bigger boxes where the top loaded cards fit in it, sometimes you'll get a bag from a dealer or something like that. But honestly, if I take the top loaded cards and I just set them nicely in my backpack, they're fine. I don't throw the bag around or do anything like that. I'm generally go to a show, get some lunch, and then I go home. But yeah, it's a good idea to bring something with you if you plan to buy bulk. If I'm buying, 4-row boxes, 5-row boxes, they will pretty much let you take the box. There wouldn't be any reason for them to try to take all those cards out of that box. So if you're buying huge bulk, I wouldn't think that would be something you'd have to supply. Thoughts?
Agreed. So I typically have a backpack on or a drawstring sack on my back or something like that. I don't bring a lot.
A Supreme bag that goes across your chest.
A fanny pack, like
a man satchel.
Yeah. No, I pretty similar to Adam. I try to bring a box. I usually throw a couple team bags in there just in case. If I've got a couple lunch bags, I fold it up and in good condition, I might put them in there because, to Adam's point, a lot of times you buy enough cards, the dealer is going to give you something, but occasionally they don't. So I like to have something as a backup. Sometimes I'll bring this guy along because my eyes are going, and in between digging in boxes, sometimes I like to sit and take a closer look at the stuff I got, and sometimes I need that to really see all the fine details or see if it was in good a condition as I thought it was when I picked it. Let's see. Well, we always have to have room to bring Stuart. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just some things to secure the cards once I pick them up is really the main thing. Other than that, I don't do any recording at shows, so I don't have the batteries and stuff that Adam has, but just making sure you're not that guy walking around with just handfuls of cards and they're falling all over the place.
Yeah, I thankfully I've never run into that situation. My one exception would be the National. I'll bring a few 5,000 count boxes with me because you're just getting so many lumps of cards from different places, and obviously that's a bigger travel trip, at least for us. We don't live right at where the National is located. So then I'll kind of consolidate them all and just fill 10,000, or 5,000 count boxes so that it's easy to load and bring with and not getting it. Plus, then if they're all ready, they go on my shelf and this stuff has to be listed kind of situation. Any other boxes, bags, whatever that I got through that weekend, then if there's anything nice, I'll bring them home empty. Rest I'll just toss. So I think, Beau, you're buying more quantity at a time generally than Charlie and I are.
Yeah,
you're looking for like full row boxes.
In probably 90% of the shows that I go to, I just set up as a dealer. There's not too many shows in the year that I go as strictly a buyer. Every once in a while, I'll go to Oak Creek. I'll go down to the Chicago Spectacular, of course, the National. But outside of that, it's usually shows that I'm a dealer. So I've just got my stuff that I'm set up with. So when I do go to shows as a buyer, I usually just have a backpack and I bring like an 800 count box. But like you guys say, if I'm digging through and I cherry pick 200 or 300 cards, usually the dealer has a box. So, the box that I bring, I don't really need. I always bring like a pack of top loaders and a pack of penny sleeves just in case, and I never use them. But it's always, but the time that I don't bring them is the time that I'm going to be like, I should have brought that this time. So that's really all that I bring when I'm walking the floor.
Yeah, the biggest risk is if you're buying the really cheap stuff, right? Like the nickel cards, the dime cards. A lot of times those aren't sleeved or anything.
Yeah.
If you're buying stacks of top-loaded cards, you're probably okay just throwing them in your bag and being good with it. I shouldn't say throwing, setting them in your bag. You should be fine, unless you're doing something wild. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to. It doesn't take up much space. It's lightweight. Throw up 800,000 count box in your bag and plop down on the floor here and there in between dealers. When you buy a big chunk, if they don't have a box for you, and pull your box out and throw them in there. And one of the things I have to try to do, and I'm not always so great at it, but because I film my show experiences, I have to try to keep my buys separate somehow, because I like to show like, I spent $25 on these cards. Here's the stack of cards I got from that dealer. That doesn't always work out because a lot of times it's like, just chuck them in here. And because timing at a show is so important. You got to get there early. You want to be the first to boxes. If you see crowds gathering at, a table with some boxes, you probably want to try to head over there as soon as you can and keep digging with them. And, hopefully there's still some stuff in there for you to pull out. So I don't want to stand there for a couple hours and examine each card and put each one in the box individually. And no, it's get it in something where it's not going to fall apart and move on. You can reorganize your stuff later on, but yeah, I think it's just a simple process, just to have a box with you. You should be good.
My wild card, if you were to search my backpack at a show and it's a show that it's like a whole day we're going to, you're probably going to find a bottle of water and some beef jerky in there too.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. One of the things I always bring to the National in Chicago as well is hydration packets because they don't have any air conditioning. And I mean, not only will your pants not be able to stay on by the end of the show, but you'll also have no salt or liquid left in your body. It's pretty insane. So, looking forward. Are you going to Cleveland, Beau? I'm assuming.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So we just booked our hotel recently. We're both got our VIP badges. We're ready to go. So you're not setting up, are you?
No. I'll just go walk. I'm when it comes to the National, I'm super like late in all my booking. Now that it's in Cleveland, like I'll get the VIP, but Chicago, the super VIP is important because it's got the parking pass. But Cleveland, I won't use that. So
yeah, for me, Chicago's better because I'm a Hyatt World member, so I just book in the Hyatt that's attached.
Oh, nice.
So I don't pay any parking or anything.
Nice.
And then it's just the Skywalk. So
yeah.
And I always get the upgraded suite and all that stuff. So, but like Cleveland, I'm lost. I'm like, where do I go? There wasn't even a Hyatt in the list, So, luckily Charlie was able to take care of that. I had some booking issues. When I kept trying to book a hotel and it said it was full, and I don't know, it was kind of a nightmare. So, glad we got our accommodation.
Told me they'd throw in the bloodstains for free.
Yeah, nice. As long as it still has the windows in it, I'm good. Yeah, we'll just bring Stuart with us. He'll save us. We'll put him in the doorway watching the peephole, and he'll let us know. All right, Weston says Madison shop I know of. I haven't stopped at Bonsai yet. There's a cool little shop in Lodi too, if you know what that means, Beau. I don't.
Lodi is just
Lodi.
Yeah, Lodi.
Who knew? I don't do a lot of card shops either. I mean, you've seen videos of me like going to buy stuff. We have a shop that's been here for. I mean, I knew, and it's still the same owner. I've been buying from this guy since I was like 10, 11 years old. Great guy. You've seen him in my videos, and he gets a lot of compliments on running a great shop and being customer friendly and all that kind of stuff. And he is, and he'll get some things in here and there, and I like to go in and try to give him some business. I point that out a lot in my videos. Hey, I went and bought a pack of this stuff at my card shop. I know I could get it cheaper online, but I like to make sure that they have some business too. Or I'll go buy a box from them once in a while, or just make a trip there and dig through some singles. Lots of times they'll get vintage, which I never find vintage at shows. That's one thing I still have to buy in lots on eBay. So by the way, you might have a lot of shows, but you don't have certain cards you can buy at shows. Like non-sport cards are kind of non-existent. Yeah. I have to go on and buy my sets of Beavis and Butthead cards on eBay because I'm not going to find them at a show. Madison actually does a decent job of that. I bought quite a few non-sport at Madison, and obviously the National. If you look hard enough, you can find some good non-sport stuff. But anyway, yeah. So I think it's important to recognize your local shops, give them a little bit of business here and there, and they're an important part of the hobby too. If people aren't buying boxes and ripping them, we can't buy cards. So
yeah,
I'm there's a couple dealers that are like, oh, these breakers and this and that. I'm like, dude, I wish we had more breakers. I wish that the world was full of breakers. Open every damn box that's on a shelf.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to pay for them in unripped packs. I want them loose where I know the market value and I can do something with it. So, yeah, encourage people to go to their shops and buy boxes and participate in that experience. Let's see. Ironically enough, Odd Merchants Vintage. Thanks for joining us tonight. Imagine going to a storage auction, winning the auction, seeing rows stack upon stocks of 5,000 card boxes, win and realize they're all Cubs. Oh shit. Okay, I get it now. Yeah, I think that should be Charlie's. We should leave those to Charlie.
Version of hell.
Yeah, right. All right. I would imagine there's some cards in there that have some fairly good value, though, Charlie.
True.
So and you wouldn't have any attachment to them, so it'd be an easy sell, I suppose.
That is absolutely true.
That's actually a good question. But you don't have any kids, right?
No kids.
What the hell are you going to do with all these cards when, you can't even look at them anymore?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Is that the retirement plan or something? When you tell the nursing home, well, I don't have any retirement money, but here you go. Here's 1 million Cubs cards. Get what you can out of this. I'll be in my room, thanks. Well, and there you go. What's your exit plan? Yeah.
There isn't one yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Beau, how do you utilize? I don't have my glasses on, so bear with me. And I'm looking at my little phone. How do you utilize custom SKUs for inventory storage tracking with Card Dealer Pro? I can only get Card Dealer Pro to just do a card number, and that's it.
Yeah, so I have to export and I export the spreadsheet anyway out of Card Dealer Pro. I'll export the spreadsheet, and then there's the second column. I think it's column B, is the custom label SKU. I'll just type in box 24, tab A, copy paste it down the spreadsheet.
Down the whole row.
Just save it, upload it to eBay. So I'm doing that anyway. When I upload to eBay, I'm saving the spreadsheet and then uploading through File Exchange on eBay. So it's just one quick little step that I have to take. It would be, you can do it in Card Dealer Pro. Somebody showed me, I think it's within one of the views you can do it. But if you copy and paste within the spreadsheet, if you're exporting the spreadsheet to upload, it's pretty fast.
Well, I think you have to export the spreadsheet, right? To upload, or otherwise, how would you do it?
Yeah, I assume. I
don't think there's I think eventually they'll have a way to connect directly to your eBay account. You might be able to just upload right from there.
Yeah, so they have to work with eBay to do that.
Right, correct. Yes.
So Chronazio is the other volume, AI
listing.
And they're connected with eBay, but you also pay more for it. So that's the downside. So I also think Chronazio is clunky. Card Dealer Pros, if you're not very computer savvy like me, Card Dealer Pro is like it's like uploading for dummies. Where Chronazio, a lot of the people that I think like Chronazio are more advanced with computing. And they like what you can do. You can do if you're computer smart. I think there's more you can do with Chronazio.
Where like adding with this HTML.
There you go. But that's still a thing. I don't maybe.
So it's kind of like Apple versus Android, right? So Card Dealer Pro is more the Apple version. It kind of doesn't give you as many options, but it gets you to where most people want to go. Whereas Chronazio is more of a custom. You could have more of a custom experience.
I think so. Yeah,
Now, what I plan to do with Card Dealer Pro would be I basically bag in 50 card increments.
Mm-hmm.
So I plan to kind of just scan my 50, do my SKU of 50, because it'll all be the same, SKU number for that. Yep. Bag them, put them away, and then just scan the next 50. I think at least till I get more used to the program and it becomes more of a muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to scan 1,000 cards and then I'm all over the place with them.
Yeah.
And I don't have the right SKUs listed. You could create a huge nightmare for yourself pretty quickly.
Yeah, I actually know somebody who did that. And he didn't organize, and he uploaded 20,000 cards, and can you
yeah,
I had like 2,000 not organized, and 10x that. I'm like, ooh. So he had to completely take down all of his listings and start from scratch.
Yeah, don't do that. And that just goes back to my point of don't grow too fast. Don't just shove all these listings through. I think Card Dealer Pro, the scanner, all that stuff, I think that's way too much for somebody just starting out. I think you need to get a few things on there. You need to get some sales.
Yeah.
You need to get some experience with it, get down some sort of inventory system, have a place to put all the cards. Don't just go out and buy 50,000 cards and shove them through a scanner and hope for the best. I think you're asking for a complete disaster.
You need to know your limitations. You need to know how much you can handle. Unfortunately, we were living through the pandemic when I really scaled my business up, and I was selling anything I listed sold back in 2020 and 2021. It was magical back then, selling cards. And I realized I was, still doing my full-time job. And I think at one point I was doing 80 sales a day, 80 transactions a day, orders a day,
Same.
Working a full-time job. And I'm like, okay, if I have my, I know I can do at least twice that amount. I had that, I had that base knowledge of, okay, I know I know I can handle this amount with this much time, 3x, 4x, whatever. So.
Yeah, don't do more than you can handle. That's go take some time and get your processes down, and then you can, push the growth from there. None of us just like quit our jobs and then listed a card on eBay. Like that's not, those of us that are doing it full time now, we didn't start out just, I don't think I haven't talked to anybody who sells full time that was just like, well, I don't know, I just bought a box of cards and I quit my job and figured I'd see how it goes. Because you do need to, eBay is vast, and there's a lot of people selling stuff on there. You need to build some brand and get some customers. And I have about 1,500 regular customers now that I can contact and send coupons to and newsletters and things like that. You don't get that day one. It takes you a long time to build stuff like that up. It's funny because sometimes when I list new stuff and it sells instantly, and I go back and look at who bought it, it's like, well, yeah, it's this guy who buys from me all the time. Like I almost could have just emailed him and be like, dude, you want these? How much do you want to send? So that's a huge advantage, right? So when you have eyes automatically on your stuff and you didn't do anything other than list the card for, with a decent photo and a fair price, that's when you can start going, okay, well, this could be something I can actually do and, make regular income at. So, because you only get paid if you sell. It's not the same as, well, if you go there from 9 to 5, you get this much money. That doesn't work that way with this. So you better make sure you sell some cards.
Yep.
Our merchant says he's been focusing more on quality over quantity when he's buying, which is interesting. And to some degree, I actually do the opposite, which sounds kind of weird, but I like, let me see if I have an example here. I've got a card this weekend that I bought specifically because it wasn't in great shape. I don't know if I'm going to find it in here. Anyway, it's a 1970 Topps Bart Star, and it has a fair crease down the center of it. The dealer was asking $5 for it, and somebody else was actually interested in, looking at it and interested in it, and the dealer offered it to him for $2. And I said, well, I'll buy it for $2. The guy didn't want to buy it, so I'm like, I'll buy it for $2. I love buys like that because that card, in near mint shape would be, $75, $80, whatever. Some people don't want to spend that for a card, but they'll spend $12 on one that has it was a nice looking card. It was well centered, corners were soft. It's got this crease, but color was good. I feel like I can find more buyers for a card like that than one that's in perfect shape. Well, this needs to be graded, and you almost complicate things that way. Yeah. A card that I just found today, and one of my buys from the National, that I probably paid a dime for it. This is the 1971 Topps card game card. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of got the player card on both sides. But I flipped it over, and the thing's autographed.
Oh, sweet.
And this was Haven Moses from the Buffalo Bills. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, let's just go see if this is even legit. Because so much stuff is, signed by jokers.
Uncle Joe.
Yeah, there you go. Right on. So I go look up some, he's got a pretty obvious signature, that you should be able to compare to others. I looked at quite a few other signatures. And I'm like, I think this thing is real. But now this puts me in a predicament, right? So I paid a dime for this card. If it wasn't autographed, I'd just sell it for $5 and call it a day. Now the thing's autographed. So what do? Now I got to pay to get it authenticated. Let's say it isn't authentic. Now I wasted the money on that. Okay, so I get it authenticated. Now I should probably grade it. Now I got to, it's this little 10-cent card is going to cost me, potentially a bunch more work. So I had another situation where I bought a lot of non-sport cards and promo cards, and this one was one from San Diego Comic-Con. It's a Ultraman card, and the artist's name is John Smitty. Well, John must have been at the show because he signed the card.
Nice.
So, and this came in a big lot. I got 200, non-sport promo cards for $25 or whatever it was. But same thing. And I don't want to sell it on eBay like that because what if the signature isn't real? I don't want that kind of hassle,
Yeah.
if somebody reporting the item or whatever. And so now in a way, I can't even sell it. So, without taking more steps.
It's a slippery slope, and it for me, because I come across autograph stuff all the time in buys, and it kind of depends. Like if sometimes Goodwill pallets, for example, if there's just a 1991, I know it's obviously from 1991. It's Timmy's box, and it's a bunch of 1990 Donruss with fake autographs. You can pretty much tell fake autographs, so those just get thrown away. Or
if it's like a Jordan auto, it's going to be fake.
But if it's like a Roberto Kelly 1989 Topps New York Yankees card, and it's in a penny sleeve and a top, it's like, it doesn't look like a kid signed it, and it's in a top loader. It's in like a legit that I usually will list for like $2, $3 on eBay. So it's not authenticated, but it's also Roberto Kelly,
Right.
I had a couple that one I think was a Bill Clinton, and it's like, if this is real, this is probably worth something.
Yeah. President collector, so that's insane. Yeah.
I did the Beckett whatever. It's like $10. It's online. You submit a picture of the autograph, quick opinion or whatever. And so I think it's a sham. I think they're just ripping people off for $10.
Yeah.
That's just my own personal opinion.
I agree.
But I've dumped $20 because I had two things. Another was Dale Earnhardt, which it's like, I want to, if this is legit, that one I probably pissed away $10 because it was obvious that it was like a photocopy. But the Bill Clinton was actually like, somebody signed it. Beckett said it wasn't Bill Clinton. And I even posted on Twitter, like I paid the $10 to Beckett for their quick opinion. And then I put it on Twitter and like, everybody, oh, that's fake, that's fake, that's fake, that's fake. Usually people are like, just say it's fake. And it might be, you could have got it signed and like you watched the guy sign it and they're like, oh, that's fake. Because the way the M.
Did the card have a game used piece of dress in it or?
No, there was stained or anything.
Okay. Never mind.
But if it's, if it's like, a common guy, I'll list it on eBay. Haven Moses is a little different story. If he's in the Hall of Fame, that's kind of a different story because it's gonna be more than a $2 auto. But it's a slippery slope. And do you want to spend the money on either a quick opinion or, because that's $10 and you could have that, but do you even want to put $10 into it? I don't know.
Right.
So it's just kind of your own discretion. You can sell it as is, but then you run the risk of what if it's fake? I don't know.
Yeah, and then you get a negative feedback because I bought this autograph and it's not real. I just don't think I want to deal with it. Buying promo cards as it is its own hell to some degree. It's financially beneficial. I do very well with them, but that's your own. Well, is this a legit company? And you have those kinds of things that pop up too. Is this real or fake? Like I don't know who makes these cards or what it's supposed to look like. It's
like
so
it's like
basically
deck cards where the kids drew them.
Yeah, how to draw or draw your own card. Basically, the conclusion I've come up with for these autos is I'm going to keep them. I think it's a cool little side PC. It's just stuff I randomly get in lots or 10-cent boxes or whatever. I think it's a fun thing to have. I can display them, things like that. If they're real, great. Somebody else can deal with that later on down the road, I guess. Yeah. For now, I'm just gonna keep them and say, hey, I found this in a 10-cent box. Makes for a decent story. So anyway. But what are your thoughts? Are you guys looking for more quality cards versus quantity cards? How would you answer this question?
I'm looking for more quality, but I tend to find quantity.
Mhm.
You know, my this weekend is a little different. I'm going to be doing a show on Sunday in Janesville, and I'm looking like it's basically I'm setting up, but I'm just taking like junk dime boxes. So hopefully I make a few bucks that'll offset what I buy. I'm kind of going in with an open mind. I might not buy anything. You know, there's been shows where I go in like I'm going to buy inventory, but there's just not smart buys to be had. So if you have the expectation of going in to buy, you don't have to buy if there's not a good deal there. And hopefully I find something that tickles my fancy and that I can flip. Ideally, I need to stock up a little more quality in my store because it's getting pretty heavily. A lot of volume is going in, a lot of low end volume, and I need to offset that with some higher end stuff. So ideally, I find quality, but if the right quantity deal comes along, I'm not going to pass it up.
And I think you answered the question a little differently than I did. I was thinking quality as far as like condition of the card.
Oh, okay.
Looking at a vintage, you were looking at it more as like, if I buy the bulk, am I just looking at, it's a penny a card, but it's all commons, which I do buy more quality then because I'm looking at specific players is generally what I buy.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a bunch of Bobby Witt Jr. rookies this weekend, some Julio Rodriguez. I'm heavy on my baseball buying right now. So I was looking for that stuff. I'm not buying, these prospects type of stuff as much. I'm looking more for the quality, sort of proven themselves already type players.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to answer based on the way you did, that's how I would answer it. I'm buying more quality too, rather than just commons.
Yeah, I think it's got to be a balance of that. I think your quantity is going to get you some better deals because you're helping a dealer move a lot of stuff that they want to move. But you want to seed that with some good quality stuff as well. Like I made a little buy at a local card shop today where it was mostly quantity, but seeded in there, I also made sure to get a handful of really quality cards that were a little bit higher end to balance all that out.
Yeah, I think that to me, the biggest thing is if I buy this thing, can I resell it? How long is it going to take me to resell it? And what is my margin on it? I can, to some degree, I don't think everybody could do this. We like to, promote, anyone can do, and I don't want to straight up tell somebody that I don't know you can't do this, but I don't think everybody could do it, just as a general statement. Because there's a lot of things there's so much that goes into it. And there's a lot of things you just have to play out in your head. You don't have, especially when you're buying at a card show and stuff, you don't have the time and the tools there to sit there and go through every single card and look at previous sales and this and that and look at every corner.
I see some people try.
Well, if you're buying slabbed cards, yes, you better be doing that. But if you're buying 200 lower end cards at a time, you shouldn't be doing that. That's a huge waste of everybody's time. And I can tell you 100 times where I've got a bunch of cards home and I look at one, I'm like, dang it, there's a huge scratch on this stupid card. I shouldn't have paid 25 cents for this. Well, you're going to have some loss in there. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I think those are actually two completely separate things, and you sort of need to do both, right? You need to buy in quantity and you also need quality. Like, I don't know that they're mutually exclusive, right? So, I don't know. I guess that's where I finally fall on that question. We'll move on. Weston says, with CDP, do you list all your cards as excellent condition? I think you do that, Beau, right?
Everything I list on eBay is excellent because I don't want to go down the near mint trap of, this isn't near mint. So yeah, excellent on everything. Unless it's like a beater 70 tops card,
right?
Then it's going to be in poor or whatever terminology they use.
Yeah, and I don't do that. I list most of my stuff near mint.
Oh, really?
Yep. Yeah. For a couple of reasons, especially if it's ultra modern. you know, if you have a card where it's obviously off centered or there's a printing error, you know, then I would obviously put a different grade on it. But the main reason I do it is a lot of people have their search set to near mint to mint. And I don't want to miss those buyers especially if I have cards that are near mint to mint. I want to sell them.
Interesting. See, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, and that's never hurt me. I've never had somebody come back and be like, "Oh, you said." I had the one guy who bought ironically enough, it was a vintage, a 1970 Gale Sayers, which was not mint, and I did not have it listed as mint. It had a couple little creases in it, and you know, I had plenty of photos and all that. And the guy was like, "Oh, this says a mark on it or something." I'm like, "Dude, you got a Gale Sayers 1970 Topps card for $12. That's a $50 card. What are you thinking?" And I approached eBay with it, and I wasn't able to get away with that one. But I think you're missing too many sales by listing just excellent, just to avoid maybe a potential.
I do.
That being said, if you're going to list near mint to mint, you at least have to look at the cards before you run them through the scanner. If you're listing them excellent, you can probably just run them through and you'll be fine. So
yeah. But I do get messages from people when, like, especially like 2024 Topps release this, like these are coming just out of a pack. I'm scanning them or taking a picture, put them as excellent. They're brand new. There's no scratches. There's no dings or anything. And people will send me a message. What's wrong with this card? And I'm like, nothing. And they're like, well, it's excellent. And in like the little sidebar or the little subtitle on excellent has like blemishes or something. So they want to know what blemish.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. Like if I'm listing near mint cards, I should probably list them as near mint.
Well, and you have to think of it this way too. The way eBay has changed it now, so that they require you to put a condition now, right? That just happened 6 months ago, whatever it was. That shows up right away to the buyer. So if they weren't really looking at that, field or determination before, now it's right in front of their face. So. Yeah. But and that was one of the reasons why eBay wanted us to do that too, because there are a lot of people that search by conditions, because it depends on, their price market. Let's take it to a different type of car. Let's say you want to look for a 52 mantle. You might be like, well, I want a poor condition 52 mantle because I can't afford the $10 million one.
Yeah.
Versus, Elon Musk is casually shopping and he says, I want that PSA 10. I guess in that case, that's wrong because you'd probably search by the PSA grade. But if you didn't know what you were looking at or you're new to the hobby, you might be like, I just want mint cards. But yeah, the excellent description says that there's something wrong with the card.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you don't feel like there is, I personally wouldn't list that way. I'm not saying anyone is right or wrong, because in a way you're also benefiting the customer because they get it and they're like, man, this thing is really cherry, and he said it was only excellent.
Yeah. When people send me a message on Bowman, like Bowman Chrome, and they're like, are there any scratches? I say, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Because there usually is.
Mm-hmm.
And you might not. So I just don't want to avoid it. Because if I say no, I can't see any, and I don't want to go through sending the card and the customer sends it back or complains and says, oh, there's scratches. He told me there wasn't. So
once in a great while you'll get that. I'll have a customer who'll contact me and they'll be like, oh, dude, there's a little bit of a peel on the back, or there's a mark here or whatever. And I'm like, well, I didn't notice that. Mm-hmm. And I'll just say, sure, go ahead, send it back. No big deal. And then maybe I'll relist it as excellent after that. So most customers aren't just going to be like, oh, negative, the guy doesn't know what he's talking, And if you get a customer that's going to react that way, no matter what the hell condition you listed at, they're going to complain. That's just the personality type over the actual content.
Right.
So, and then you throw them on your block list. Mine's getting pretty long. So
yeah, mine's growing.
Even if you get some of that, Beau, if you think about the numbers of orders you're pushing out, it's going to be such a low volume. It's almost like the discussion about the post office delivering late, right? Or damaging things. Like we talk all the time that for the millions that are going out every day, we get relatively few defects. I think you would see the same results with your listings that way.
Yeah.
Well, if you truly want to catch up to the bigger dealers, you have to up your negative numbers. You're way behind. So you gotta do something to fail those people so that you can compete.
I think I
with
do have
Burbank.
12.
Do you? Yeah, they do kind of add up over time. I have 3.
11 in the last 12 months.
You got to I try to communicate with eBay, and I'll usually, you get so many where you can request a change. I'll contact the customer and I'll say, oh, I see where this didn't work out the way you wanted. What can I do to get a positive, experience with you? Don't ask for positive feedback. That's against eBay rules. But I throw the word positive in there just so that it kind of, oh, this guy wants positive, it kind of
Subliminal.
puts it in their brain. But I'll say, well, how can I make this a positive experience for you?
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, you don't take returns. I had one of my negatives I had a while ago was, you don't take returns. I'm like, yeah, I do. You just assumed or what? And he's like, oh, okay, well, I'll return it. And then boom, I sent him a feedback revision request, and he changed it. So, I think even in the case of, let's say it was a negative because you listed it excellent, near mint, and it was excellent. If you contact the customer, they'll probably be like, okay, or say, hey, I didn't realize there was this mark on it. I'll give you a couple bucks back or something. You're good at all that stuff, Beau. I don't need to tell you what to do on that side. You're good at customer service. I watch your show enough to realize you run a solid business. In my opinion, anyway. I guess I'm not the one to grade anybody's business, but I think that if you change to that, I think that you would be able to handle the situation if it came up.
Yeah.
But you're eliminating some possible customers, I think so. All right. Red light is here. Red light 34. Hello, everyone. Good evening to you. Are we like way behind in the chat here? I can't see the whole
like
thing.
Half an hour. Oh, almost an hour now.
Oh boy. Crook Cards has the best business strategy. Auction off 660 count boxes of pure junk wax for $50.
Yeah, and I think they pay $8 for a 5-row.
Okay.
What their pay rate is.
As long as they can keep finding the inventory, finding people that'll sell to them. So are they shipping those to themselves? Like when they buy them? Or?
I don't think so. I think when they're buying them, like people like take them. Like I've sold to people who they're like, I'm going to Michigan and selling to Crook, and people will take it. It kind of reminds me of the Seinfeld episode where I think they're going to Michigan in that episode.
Yeah.
And they take the mail truck and they've got all the aluminum cans going to Michigan because they pay 15 cents or whatever.
Sure.
That's how I picture people taking their junk wax commons to Crook Cards, getting their $8 a box.
Yeah, I mean, if they've got people bringing them to them, sure. I think that's a good business model. So then, if they sell them for $50, are they shipping them out?
God, I would hope so.
Because I mean, are they charging? They must be charging shipping then on top of that. Because you're looking at.
They're making enough on 50. I don't know.
Well, to ship a box, I was like, well, it's 660 count. You're right. That's not that many.
So maybe
so
$10.
Probably not even that much. Probably like $7 or $8. I'm guessing somewhere in there. I was thinking they're shipping 5,000 count boxes. I'm like, oh no way. Who the heck is buying pure junk 660 count boxes for $50? Who buys that? I don't. I mean, I guess there's a market for it. It's working for them.
Somebody's buying it.
I mean,
let's find those buyers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I probably have some stuff I could toss them for an even better deal than that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Look at Two Bros 788. They got in over their head with the 99-cent free shipping cards. Their feedback has taken a huge hit.
Yeah, that was actually the eBayer. They're in like the top 50 on eBay.
Not anymore.
And well, it's based on like positive feedback. It's kind of the only tool, like ranking tool you can find. It's based on positive feedback in the last 30 days, but it gives you a good idea of who the top 100 or where anybody ranks actually. But they're one that they have a really bad negative feedback. But they also have like 20,000 or 10,000 feedback in the last 30 days. So
sure. Well, it's kind of Burbank usually has around 25,000 a month positive, and then another 1,000 negative. So
Yeah.
How many negatives does eBay let these people get before they're like, yes, probably isn't a good customer service?
It's
person?
not even a measurement. Negative feedback's not even a measurement.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But you would think the negative feedback would come with other things, right? Claims and reports of,
whatever. Yeah. The measurements in your seller profile, what they measure
Right.
you like the monthly basis, like return rate and all that, like that's all measured in, but feedback's not a part of it. Because if you call or talk to somebody on eBay about a negative feedback, if you talk to a rep, they'll be like, well, negative feedback doesn't matter. And it's like, yes, it does. It matters to me. Like, I don't want that negative feedback because it's a fucking lie. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a freaking lie. And
it matters to your potential customers. If the customers are reading that, you don't want that on there for that reason. So, which eBay doesn't have to care about. They just have to care about the buyer side. So,
yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because, I wouldn't think you'd get a pile of negatives unless you had other things happening, though. Your defect rate is high, or your return rate are high, or you're not settling the, requests soon enough, and eBay's refunding buyers, and, that those numbers must go up too, I would think.
Yeah. And I think they rank it on percentage. So with the sheer volume that these top 50, 25 users are at, they may have their volume's high on these things, but they're also moving, 100,000 shipments a month or whatever. So
yeah. No thanks. I don't know that I would ever, unless I can hire enough people to make that worth it. I don't know that I would want to. I like running a business by myself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind like an employee or two just to do, like I said,
kind of where I feel I would feel comfortable with
somebody to do some listing and some shipping so that I could, maybe focus on a few other things. I'd love to buy more lots on eBay, but I don't have time to sit and surf that, most days anymore. That's one of the things I like about the show is it throws me out on the weekend for a day and I don't have a choice but to buy or to shop. It keeps me out of the other things that I could be doing. So, a staff of, can you imagine even trying to hire 40 people these days? It's got to be impossible. And you're not going to be paying them like 70 grand a year or anything. So,
like I have friends with small businesses and like they can't find one good employee.
No, and then you got to worry about somebody stealing from you and screwing, so they screw up and ship all the orders to the wrong customers. Well, how the hell you fix that? Like there's just too much in it where I would actually be more nervous having somebody help me than just being bogged down with the extra work. I'd rather have that, I think.
And that's where the internship program comes in.
Right. Yeah, if you give them college credits or something. Doesn't that go back to the game used dress card? A little bit. All right, moving on. I have about 800 cards in my store. I sell about 100, 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, or 1 to 4 or 5 cards a day usually. On a good weekend, I'll sell about 12 cards. And right now, it's easy for me to ship every day. And I think that's great. Just get used to that and then decide if you want to scale up from that. Awesome. If you don't, then just continue that. If you're making some money on it and that's a good workload for you, then do it. Ziggy No is here. Hi, Ziggy. How's it going? Haven't heard from you in a while. Cheers. Welcome. Thanks for not calling us gentlemen and swearing at us.
Yeah.
Andrew has an oddball question. I know you've listed a bunch of the 1990 Upper Deck Comic Ball cards. How are you doing with sales? I have about 1K of these cards. I was wondering if lots from this series sell. I'm not sure who he's directing this towards. I do have some comic ball cards. I buy specific ones for the most part. I'm cherry picking them out of dime boxes and stuff. I buy the ones that have a player on it usually, like Ken Griffey Jr. or Cal Ripken Jr. All the juniors, or Nolan Ryan or something like that. I did buy a bunch of Pepe Le Pew featured cards because he was like banned from the because he's a sexual predator or whatever, according to some of the masses. But anyway, so I thought, oh, those will, they're not going to make any more Pepe Le Pew stuff. These will sell. I've sold a few, but they haven't been super hot or anything like that. That's one of those you just kind of take a chance on it. They'll sit in my store. I don't sell lots of them or anything. I bought maybe 100 cards, if that. And I've probably sold 20 or 25 of them in the year, not quite a year. That was the National, so that would have been 6-7 months ago. So not great movers, but the ones with a major league player on them do fairly well. You guys, I assume that was directed towards me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think I have any listed in my store.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just recently put some out there. I've got some 91 comic ball. What the heck is it called? It's Looney Tunes, but Looney Tunes isn't in the name really. But it's not even baseball players. It's Ralph Wolf and Sam the Sheepdog and Porky Pig and Bugs Bunny, and they if I'm lucky, they have a baseball cap on with an MLB logo on it. But I literally listed most of them just it's Wednesday. I just listed them this morning, actually. So or late last night. But so I haven't had a chance to really see how they go. I did notice I checked earlier today and I saw some views on them already. So but I didn't make a sale yet today. So they definitely aren't going as soon as I list them.
Yeah, they're not going to be hot sellers. If you can get them cheap enough and you've got the listing, space in your store, no harm, no foul. Throw them on there and see how they do. If you go, that's one of the reasons I like using the date system on my bags. Because if I go back and look at those dates listed and it's over a year old, I might be like, no, I got to throw these in my dime box or I got to flop these out or something like that. It's going to help me make decisions on what you call the long tail inventory. So MD Sports Cards makes a good suggestion here. He says, move at the speed of cash, referring to, how fast do I try to grow this thing?
Yeah.
I started with Weston started with $0, used his phone with cards that he had sitting around. And I think he hits the nail on the head. I think that's like 99% of what most of us are going to do. You're probably not going to get into selling cards if you don't have some cards. It'd be an odd thing to start selling if you didn't have prior interest. I had a bunch of cards from the 90s. I started listing some stuff just to work on my PC, and I was making money on them. And I was, really? These things sell and people want them and they'll pay me extra money? So, I agree. I think that's how most people start. MD says if you're going to model your business after the 3 on the screen, your buy-in cost of most cars is going to be a quarter or less.
Yeah.
Yes or no? I'm actually, now that I'm higher up in listings, I'm starting to look more. Well, if you saw my card show video I posted this morning or this afternoon, I'm starting to look more at the $1 to $2 to $5 type stuff. So kind of goes back to that question earlier, or that comment earlier, of quality over quantity. I'm looking a little bit more for that as well. You guys, are you kind
of? For my overall, my my model of business, it's definitely my buy-in is like a penny a card. But that's also another reason that I need to differentiate a little more diversity in my inventory and get a little more quality in there, because the penny cards, the cards I'm paying a penny for are, the long tail stuff, the stuff that, even though it may move quick, it's only moving for $1.50 or $2, if that, in some cases. So that's where some of the quality comes into. But that's less than a quarter is certainly a bulk of my purchases.
I've always kind of been a player first when I buy. So when I'm digging through a box, it's like, oh, there Derek Jeter. Any Derek Jeter for a good price, I buy all of it. You know, any Tom Brady, I buy all of it. Any Mahomes at this point, I buy all of it. Because even if my margins are maybe smaller, like I have to pay a little bit more to get that card, I can sell it in a day. And that instant flip, I have cards that I just started listing cards from the show Sunday this afternoon, a bunch of the lower end Julio Rodriguez rookies and stuff like that. I sold almost all of them already.
Mhm.
You know, and I paid 15 cents a piece for those. So not a penny, but 15 cents, but I'm getting $3-4 a piece.
Yeah.
You know, and lots of buyers buying multiples of them. So I feel like that quicker turnaround is better to me than buying a common player from the 90s for a penny.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know, a lot of times if I'm digging through, and I'm not saying that, you know, all of my purchases are, you know, a penny or 2 cents or 5 cents, but
Right.
overall, yeah. I'm also avoiding those 90s comments too. I'm
Right.
modern cards. I'm not paying a penny for the 90s.
Well, and you're buying different bulk too, so it's not always cherry pick, right? So if you're buying like a pallet from Goodwill, it's whatever's on it.
Yeah.
So, you know, you get a $300 card on there, or
yeah.
What's that?
Sometimes it's a bunch of crap in the Goodwill pallet, but I mean, sometimes I went through a box this past weekend that on top it was all 89 Fleer, and then going through it, and that's an authentic Terry Bradshaw rookie that it was sitting unsleeved, you know, in this box with a bunch. That's where the, you know, Johnny Unitas, Scale Stairs.
Nice.
But, you know, some stuff's in there too. But I mean, I'm digging through $5 boxes and dollar boxes. So you know, I may go to a show this Saturday or Sunday, and maybe there's not a box that I can get for a penny, but you know, I spend $4 or $5 on 10 or 20 cards that go in as the, you know, the quality that I'm looking for. But I would say more times than not, it's the, you know, I'm trying to get my price point down to a couple cents, and a penny might be a little, you know, too far, but 2 or 3 cents. And, you know, hopefully there's some Tom Brady's and Derek Jeters, and, you know, that I can sell for $3 or $4 to offset the crappy stuff that either won't sell or is going to take a while to sell. And that's kind of, you know, the strategy that I have.
Yeah, I think I've been more at shows trying to cover a spread, right? So I'll go to some $5 boxes, buy a couple of Kobe cards. You know, Kobe stuff is such an instant flip. You'll never find those in a quarter box,
right.
Or a dime box, or, you know, a 2-cent box. And then I'll buy a stack of stuff out of a quarter box, and I'll buy a really big stack of dime cards that I can get for a nickel or 3 cents or whatever. And then I feel like I cover a lot of bases, you know. But I list categories in my store, and do you do that, Beau? I thought I heard from you previously that you just have like baseball and football, and, you know.
I used to. I used to do categories by team, and then when I started just doing volume listing, then it's just like, you know what? If they're going to search for team, they can just go in the search bar and type in Pirates or whatever they're looking for.
Sure.
I did though.
Ooh, excuse me.
I had I have a regular buyer who buys Florida State Seminoles cards, and like anybody who's played for the Seminoles, especially if they're in Seminoles jerseys. And I'd noticed, like, anytime I up until recently, I wasn't purposefully listing some of these, but I kept seeing his name pop up. So I'm like, I was going through a box. I started pulling all the Florida State guys, and I created a category, Florida State Seminoles, just for him. And I said, hey, I just listed 100 Florida State Seminoles cards. There's a category in my store that says Florida State Seminoles. He came in and bought like 40 cards. So
yeah,
I think in that sense, sometimes when you kind of get an idea of where, you know, one customer or multiple customers, they can really come in handy, and it makes it easier for the buyer to find stuff quicker.
Yeah, because as mostly a player seller, I found that it's actually helped me quite a bit in sales. So I'll create, you know, if I have like 10 cards of a player, I'm not going to create a category for that, but I start buying more of it, and it's like, man, I feel like I've got, you know, a good 100 cards of this Ben Roethlisberger, for example. I'll go create a category. I'll go to my listings, search all my Roethlisberger listings, add that category to them. So it's, quick maintenance, bulk edit. And then, boom, I'll have somebody come in and buy like 10 Roethlisberger cards. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's a right or a wrong, but one of the things I liked about it was, and I think you bought your .com, right? You have a direct link. So my direct link to my store, when you go to it, the dollarbox.shop, it displays my categories right there. So I have a lot of customers that are using my direct link now to do their shopping. And it's nice because you see that all right there, and they go, "Oh yeah, I buy Emmett Smith. I bought some stuff from him. I'll go directly to his shop. I'll click Emmett, and I'll buy my cards." So, because my customer base, or the customers I'm mostly appealing to, are going to be player buyers, because I'll have a ton of Dion, a ton of Troy Aikman, and a ton of Emmett, but I might have like 2 Jay Novaceks,
Yeah.
and that's it. Because I'm not buying cowboy lots and stuff like that. I'm buying Emmett Smith lots, and I'm not looking for Jay Novaceks and dime boxes. I'm looking for Troy Aikmans and stuff. So, it's kind of interesting. I don't know how we got that far off track on this comment, but store categories. Think about
That's what
it.
we do.
Yeah, that's what we do. Ironically enough, Ziggy says, "Great conversation. Thank you." Hit the like button. Thanks. Please do if you haven't already done so. Please subscribe. Make sure you go check out Beau's channel. What's your channel name? It's 1 Million Cubs Cards, right? 1 Million Cubs Project.
1 Million Cubs Project, maybe.
1 Million Cubs, maybe.
I'm not sure what my YouTube. I know it's 1 Million Cubs. What is it on the?
Your agent told me it's 1 Million Cubs Project.
Okay,
there you go. Yeah, your people called his people.
Yeah. Okay. Give that guy a raise.
Right. You go from 0 to 0, right?
Yeah.
Wait, I've got a call from your agent right now.
The secret's out. If I had an agent, that's exactly what he would sound like. Let me tell you. Like, what the hell is this guy? Ziggy says he's a fan of us all. Thank you so much, Ziggy. I'm a fan of yours as well. I watch your videos, so I appreciate you. SotoCAD Collectibles, welcome. I only joined because I saw Beau was on.
Oh, what's up?
I see how it is. What's up, guys? Tons of people here tonight. That's great. Yes. Thanks, Keith, for joining us. Bargain Boxer says I'm exclusively card shows in December through February. I tried buying on eBay. Huge mistake between single card purchases. 10% sales tax, $5 shipping, etc. Just got crazy. I'm back to shows. You definitely don't want to buy single cards on eBay if you don't have to.
Yeah.
It gets pretty, adds up pretty good.
It's more for your like PC if you're looking for something to fill in.
Or lots, and then pulling out your single cards that you want out of the lots. Adam, I just finished watching your latest card show video, and I saw you didn't get an Aaron Judge card that had an Altuve and you didn't get an Aaron Judge card and an Altuve card, and just curious why you left them.
Yeah, what's your problem with the letter A?
I actually bought some Altuve and some Aaron Judge at the show. A couple different things. Possibly just missed them. I have to go through those boxes pretty quick. Sometimes I'm chatting with somebody and you get distracted, you miss one or two. And it depends. Sometimes I like quantity, but if I find 15 copies of the same card, I might not want to buy all 15. I might just want, 5 or 6 copies. Like, to try to sell through 15 is a bigger task. And there was, I'm assuming you're referring to the 3 for $1 box, which I ended up paying like 15 cents a card for in the end. But there was a lot of cards there to go through, and I wanted to make sure that I was not spreading myself too thin and just buying a bunch of stuff. I wanted to get through it all and really, really cherry pick it the best I could. I even thought about passing on the Chronicles Julio Rodriguez rookie cards. So my Chronicles, it's non-licensed, and that even gets into my head once in a while, even though I tell Charlie to forget about it. And I preach it all the time. Sometimes even in my head, I'm like, is anyone going to buy this? And I don't do as much baseball as Beau does. Like I could look at the soccer cards and I could pick those out right away. You know, you're stronger in some areas than you are in others.
Yeah.
But I thought, he's a Julio Rodriguez for 15 cents. I'm like, I got to buy that, right?
Yeah.
And I sold every single one of them today. So, you know, $3-4 a pop. So, Judge, you know, if it's a really low end Judge card, you know, a Chronicles base card or something like that, you know, that might be a tougher sell. So, but my guess is there was either a giant size quantity of them, so I didn't buy all of them, or I missed it. That's probably the biggest possibility. Did you watch my video today, Charlie?
I sure did.
Nice.
Lots of digging in boxes.
Nice. I've turned Charlie into a fan. I love it. Drove to an LCS where I got a hookup among all the other goodies. I bought 2 rows of Favre cards blind. What? You're buying my cards? There may be a package on its way to you, Adam, from Clearwater. Oh. It's funny because I was actually going to mention this earlier. Beau, you were talking about how like people send you cards and stuff like that. I've never had anybody send me any cards. I did have a viewer buy me a printer, which is pretty amazing. My a buyer bought me my thermal printer and 1,000 pack of labels.
Holy crap!
A long time ago when I only had like 50 subscribers, so I wasn't even making money on YouTube yet.
Well, remember Matt, friend of the show, brought us a box of cards the other week out in Eau Claire.
That's true. Correct. I did. You're right. Matt did give us a box of base cards to split and sell. I've sold quite a few cards out of that box, by the way. Some solid stuff in there. So again, thanks, Matt. I appreciate you. I didn't mean to disclude your transaction, but as far as like somebody sending stuff, I've never had that happen other than the printer. So kind of interesting that, you know, Peter mentioned that here.
Must have been something in the air though, because I bought some Favre cards today myself.
Yeah, I buy some all the time. So yeah, I get it. There's an attraction there. Great market, easy to resell. He has a huge fan base. So you know, if you're just looking at it on the resale side, Favre stuff is good to buy. Late 90s cards, best inserts ever made. You know, some decent years. It got a couple MVPs in there, so there were some cool cards of them made. Super Bowl win, you know, all that. So yeah, don't sleep on the Favre cards for sure. But thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. You did not have to send me anything, of course. I'll be sure to acknowledge you if I receive something. Great suggestions. I'm from Northeast Ohio. We have a ton of card shows. Get to the card shows. Yeah. Plus, it's fun as hell. It's a great way to spend a Saturday. I always enjoy going out for the lunch after and some good conversation in the car rides. You know, if you ride with some buddies to it. To me, that's my pack opening, right? So we talk about this sometimes. Like, I just get an itch to open a pack because I just want you. It's treasure hunting, right? It's the lottery ticket. Well, to me, that's what a card show box is. When I'm digging through that quarter box, I have no idea what's going to be in there, and then I'm like, like I got that LeBron James, the Kobe dunk card. I got this out of a 50-cent box.
Nice.
The tribute dunk card. Those do very well. The last one I sold was like $30, which is over market price. I know, so I might not get that again, but still, that's great value, and you never see that card in a box. Yeah. You know, those Otanis we were buying, the Tops Now ones that we were flipping for $35-$40. We were finding those in dollar boxes all the time. You know, everybody thinks those Tops Now cards aren't worth anything. Some of them are. But to me, that's fun. That's where I get to find my gold, and I don't have to pay to play. I only have to buy the card when I find the right deal. Yeah. So I don't have to ever feel like a loser when I'm going through those boxes because you can only be a winner. You know, I shouldn't say it that way because sometimes you take chances on stuff. But when you find the no-brainers like something like this, it's pretty awesome. So that kind of quells my pack opening need. That is gold, which is, would you suggest maybe just keeping the money in a PayPal account for easier accounting? Talk to your accountant. Moving on. Anytime you can separate any money, I would suggest that that's probably a good idea. But yeah, ask your accountant about what you need to do with your money. I have my own separate bank account for buying, selling, and reinvesting. That way it's separate from personal stuff, and I can track the growth of money on the bank statements. Sounds like a good idea. 41 watching. Hit the like button for a free Valentine's kiss from Beau. Yeah. Was that for Stu? I think that was meant for Stu, right?
He's gonna puck her up for you.
Oh! You said pucker, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That was the front end.
Just making It's getting late. It's getting late. Do you have to get going, Beau, or are you okay to hang out for a bit yet?
I can hang out for a few more minutes, but
okay.
I'm past my bedtime. So
yeah, we are too. This is usually when we kind of kill it. So we don't get to do this real often, so I wanted to try to get to as many people as we could.
Do we need to change the start time for your show tomorrow, Beau?
yeah, it might be a little late tomorrow morning.
Yeah, instead of being on at 8:30, he'll be on at 9, right?
Yeah.
When you buy lots, are you sleeving everything, or do you trust your scanner to process the raw cards? You and I just had this conversation this morning.
Yeah, I scan everything raw. I don't like scanning the sleeves because it jams up really easy. There's some ways, and I know people do scan with penny sleeves, but I've scanned like almost 100,000 cards raw through 2 different scanners. I haven't had any scratches, any damage. Have I damaged cards? Yes, but each time I damage a card, it was my own fault. I either put too many in the feeder, or I didn't have the catch bucket in the right place, and so
fell to the floor.
Yeah, but the scanner itself has never damaged any of my cards, and I scan everything raw.
So
in general, most people prefer raw.
Yeah.
What's funny?
That's what she said.
I didn't say it.
We can say these jokes after 10 o'clock.
After 10.
Hour box after dark. And I think that's what we coined it a couple weeks ago.
And every week I get flagged by YouTube that my video is not appropriate for ads. I have to send it back through for manual. I'm guarantee you this week it's going to happen. So, it's worth the ding and the extra process, I suppose. I have a question for you both, since Charlie and I are going to kind of get into this very soon here, as most people know at this point. Do you scan everything, or are there certain cards you pick out, like shiny stuff, chrome, oversized cards? Is there anything that you don't run through?
So I have not found a good way to scan minis, like Allen and Ginter mini cards. Okay. There's not a good way to scan them. At least I haven't found a good way.
So what do you do with those?
Put them in a box and save them for a rainy day.
Gotcha.
So those I would think might be the one candidate to scan either in the sleeve or in the top loader even.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that's in a top loader would be. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you're right. Now, when I had the first scanner I started with was the 7030 model from Fujitsu, which is now Ricoh. That's not a good machine for shiny cards. It did better with Bowman Chrome. It did better with Topps Chromium than it did with basically any Panini. Like even the sheen or whatever is on Chronicles and paper Panini cards, it would not scan those very well at all.
Interesting. That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that.
But the 8170, I'll scan Chrome, and it doesn't matter if it's Panini or Topps, and it does scan them. It takes a second longer because I've got an error message comes up. It scans it, but it says
doesn't like it,
and you gotta hit continue. So I just sit here and click every time because it'll feed one through. So it feeds it one at a time. So it's slower with Chrome cards. But it still scans them, and for the most part, they come out okay. Sometimes they come in dark. It depends on the card. But really, yeah, I pretty much scan everything through it.
That's great. Good to hear. We did so. Charlie and I kind of came up with a plan to sort of do a halftime scanning. We list a lot of cards that aren't going to work with Card Dealer Pro. Lots of non-sport stuff. Alternate sports. I do a lot of tennis and I think all the Sports Illustrated for Kids is in there now. Is that correct?
They are. Yep, they are.
And soccer's in there now, and wrestling's in there now. That's the main reason why I'm now changing my tune on using a scanner.
Yep.
Because I feel it's a lot more accessible. I really like the 2.0 version. I spent a lot of time. I spent some time looking at the 1.0 too, and it just Card Dealer Pro just didn't work for me. 2.0 seems like a lot more feasible, and the fact that they port to Shopify, that's a big attraction for me. And just looking to take that next step in the scaling now that I've got the inventory process right. I think scanning cards and listing faster is a smart move. But we thought, well, that'd be a great way to do it. We'll share it at halftime. I can still list the stuff I can't scan or don't want to scan, the super shiny stuff. I'll still list with my phone. In the times I don't have the scanner, and then when I do, I'll have a box of like these can go through the scanner, and these I want to list myself. Is kind of my thought. Either it's boxing cards that aren't in the system, or whatever the case. Garfield cards, right? I bought Garfield cards for me. I sold a Garfield card this week, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah, but I think that's going to work well for us. And then I'm going to probably buy a lower scans per month subscription, just starting out, just to see.
Yep.
If it's something that I want to continue growing. The listing with your phone has improved drastically since you were doing it, Beau. It's a lot faster. Most of the fields are pre-filled, or they're just drop-down boxes you can click real quick.
I still list from my phone. I'll list like relic cards because I don't scan relics.
Right.
But yeah, I listed probably 20 cards from my phone tonight, just like relics that I pulled out of Topps. So
awesome.
I still like. If I pull like the Ichiro autograph that I pulled, like I'm not going to run that through the scanner. And basically I think of it the same way as a valuable card. I'm not going to run it through a scanner just in case, because even though it's never happened to me, it's never damaged a card. What if? Like, I'm not saying it's never going to happen. What if? I'm not going to send, you send, we all send how many hundreds, thousands of cards in a card saver in a plain white envelope, and they get to their destination safely. Sometimes they don't. Would I send a $500 card in a plain white envelope? No. Would I scan it in a feed scanner? No. I'm going to take a picture with my phone. I'm going to list it on eBay. So basically, I use the same principle with the scanner. If I'm not comfortable sending it in a white envelope, I'm not comfortable scanning it in a feed scanner. Not because I don't trust it, but it's just smart to.
Why take the chance if you don't have to? There's an alternative method to doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of how I feel about it too. So I'm going to spend some time, not right now. I've got tax stuff I'm doing and some things with my parents and other stuff going on. But shortly after that time frame, I'm going to start looking at Shopify and what it would take to build out. I already have I run a store on Shopify, so I'm very familiar with it. And I might spend some time talking to them and just seeing how feasible it would be to run a card shop. If you look at I don't know if you've done this, but if you go to Burbank's website, did you notice who they sell through?
No.
It's a Shopify platform.
Oh, really?
For their own website. Yeah. And I think is it Got Baseball Cards, I think is the other place. They do use Shopify too. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, it'll say like powered by Shopify or whatever.
Interesting.
So it kind of, I have a feeling that, a low end card dealer, they'd be able to handle that. I just don't know if they'd limit you to how many products you can list or how big a cart you can have. But they have great payment systems and their fees are really cheap. And it's a great company. So I would love to build out I told you this, Beau, like 9 months ago. I said my next step is to build my own website.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. But when I saw you at the Madison show, that was something that was part of my goals. So that was a big motivating factor too, to start getting used to the scanner and Car Dealer Pro and all those things, because if I'm going to build out the website, I'm going to have to use that to
Oh yeah.
to do that. So that's where it's. I knew everybody wanted to know about, why would you do a scanner in a thing? You said you weren't going to do any of this. But lots of things have changed, and I am open to making changes. I made changes to my inventory and things like that. I speak from where I'm at in the moment on, what's best, and then as things change, you got to be able to adjust with it.
Yeah.
So, and there might be a better program that comes out down the road, and we might all be jumping off a Car Dealer Pro and doing something else. If I could find something where it just direct lists to eBay and it's done, like you just scan the card and it AIs and boom, it lists, that would be amazing. Where you wouldn't have to do a CSV file. Right. And it works, and it actually works. Because that was kind of my other complaints with Car Dealer Pro. I'm like, well, you're spending a lot of time in there because you're fixing cards and you're doing all this stuff. How much time does it really save you? And I feel like they've come a long way. And the 2.0, I watched your video, Beau, and I know you're kind of the unlicensed spokesperson for Car Dealer Pro. You're their commercial, for Christ's sake. But I watched some of the Car Dealer Pros and their updates for 2.0 and the the Shopify plugin and all this stuff, and I'm like, this is they're going in the right direction. This is a company I could. The scanner kind of makes sense long term, no matter who you're listing with. But I think Car Dealer Pro sort of has the right program going, and hopefully they can keep it growing and keep making it more user friendly and easier and faster for us. So really, it ultimately comes down to speed, right?
Right, exactly. And they added Pokemon and TCG last week, and I've talked to 3 or 4 people that have tested it out, and they're like, it's like super accurate. Like, I think it's been more accurate for Pokemon than what it has been for like baseball and football. And
I would think it would be, because there aren't as many parallels. It's if this card is matte, it's a matte playing card. If this card is foil, it's a foil. If it's a full art card, well, it's got art from edge to edge. It should be, the AI should definitely be smart enough to pick that. I think the problem it has with the sports cards is, this is a purple wave, and this is a flat. This is just a straight purple. And it's like, dude, there's only
a bajillion Panini parallels.
Until it sees that image 1,000 times, it's not going to know, what. I think what people get wrong with AI is they think, oh, it's AI, so you do it and then it just knows what it wants to. No, the AI is supposed to learn. Like, it's still, you don't know what you know at 47 when you're 7 years old. You have these experiences and enough things happen to you that you're like, well, I'm not going to touch the stove when it's on. That was a poor decision. So we have to allow the AI to sort of have some time and have some experiences. So it's like, that's a purple wave, because the regular purple, it's got to identify some of that. So I think we should just continue to see improvement on that. I've even noticed that with the description on eBay, the AI has been doing a much better job than when it first came out. Put like little random codes in it and stuff like that, and that doesn't happen nearly as much as it used to. So, but anything you guys want to add to tonight? I think we're at 2.5 here. I think that's plenty. We can all get some sleep. Beau especially, he's got to get up and do a morning show, I guess. So
yeah,
good luck with that.
The funny thing is, I'm usually I go to bed at like 9 o'clock. I'm winding down, and usually I'm like asleep by 10. But I'm like super tired when I stay up late. Like, this is late for me.
Yeah, me too.
I'll be like wide awake. Like, I'll probably be ready to go, and I'll be early. Where if I get like 9 hours of sleep or whatever, I'm like sleeping in. It's 5 after 7. Oh shit! And
Dragon. Yeah. Yeah, you're good. Don't worry about it.
You gotta figure out your sleep cycle and wake up when you're not in that deep REM sleep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
I'm normally like a 4 a.m. riser, and it's, even if I stay up later, it's hard to turn that off. I don't use an alarm clock or anything, so it's like, or the dog's got to pee, or there's something going on where sleeping in isn't really a thing. So I got a kid to get on a bus, stuff like that. So
If I had nothing going on tomorrow, I would sleep until about 10 a.m.
Yeah, I know you've told me that before. That really surprised me
And
about
I would
you.
stay
You're
up
such
till
a
3 a.m. tonight.
you're such a doer. You like to work hard and all this weird stuff like that. And so I was always surprised when you're like, I'd sleep till whenever, and I'm like, really? And, usually go-getters are up and go get them. So I don't know.
I do that at night. I do my best work at night.
Yeah,
See, in the morning, I'm
me too.
My wife she'll be on her computer till like 1 a.m. doing work, but she's sleeping till 10. And
Nope. Nope, not for me either.
I'm the opposite.
Rhythms, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Ooh.
All right.
How dare you, sir?
That's the first swear word of the night.
Yeah.
I meant that for Stu. Gentle goat. Thanks anyway again for joining me, Charlie and Beau. Appreciate you guys. Hopefully we can do this again another time. I think it was a good time. We got answered some good questions, got to talk to a lot of viewers, so that's very important. Don't forget to check out Beau's channel. He thinks it's 1 Million Cubs project.
He knows it is.
He does a live show pretty much every day. 8 a.m., right, is your start time?
7.
7? Why did I think it was
the countdown says
7, 8. Yeah, I know. Well, I'm usually jumping in when it's already going. But anyway, 7 a.m.
East Coast, it's 8 a.m.
Right. There you go. East Coast.
7 a.m. Central. I guess we probably have people all over.
It's true.
7 a.m. Central.
Live coast to coast.
Yeah, whenever I promote this show, I always say 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I think that's why I had 8 in my head, because I do 8. But anyway, yeah, so be sure to check out his channel and his live show in the mornings. Very entertaining content. I always have a good time watching it. JC3 Collectibles is Charlie. Go check him out. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all that. And we'll see you next week, right? Beau, you're welcome back anytime. So you just let me know when you've got something you want to get off your chest, and we'll throw you on here.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care, everybody. List and ship and list.
Peace out.